so cool. When I sat down, I felt it through my hands. It's like, what?
Okay, this is the regularly scheduled Town of Nantucket Board of Appeals meeting, September 11, 2014. Can I get an approval as amended and in front of us?
The agenda?
Yeah, of the agenda, sorry. I had to put
Yeah,
that.
I'll make that motion.
All righty.
Second?
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye. Aye. How about the minutes of August 14th? Did we get those? Did I miss that
Yeah,
whole?
I have, they're in the packet.
Oh, yeah,
Page
yeah.
4, starting on page 4.
Yeah. Anybody want to make a motion, or we need more time to review?
I haven't read them.
I haven't read them either. Can't tell a lie. So why don't we pass that over for the month?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So now we're on to old business, and I don't think, do we have to do anything with these? The withdrawal without prejudice? Okay. So we will start with, we don't have to do anything else on any of the others. Okay, so we'll start with 17-14 Andrew T. Perlman, 4 Daringworth Road. Bless you. They would like to withdraw without prejudice. Does anybody have any comment about that? Or there was a little shed, I believe, that...
I don't.
No, I don't. All right, so since no one has any comment, will somebody make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve withdrawal without prejudice.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Karen, seconds. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay. So I will tell everybody, I am not going to be here in October, so...
And I would like to leave by 2. I have to.
Yeah,
be
but I think everybody will go with the 12 o'clock start.
Yeah.
Not again until 12:30, the room is taking until 12:30.
All right.
Everybody, Mark, can you be here at 12:30?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was just hoping to, if there's anything that's going to be held over, that I'm going to be on 2 o'clock.
I will schedule those items first in the agenda.
Right.
Anything you need, so.
All right, so if anybody thinks any of their, no one knows, of course. I didn't, if an applicant doesn't want me to sit because of that, I don't have any problem with that. So, having said all that, why don't we start with 44-14? I mean, maybe I shouldn't sit on this. Maybe this will. You want to sit on this one, Jeffrey?
I can.
Or you have to be prepared to read to
read it.
listen in and
I can do
read
either
in.
one.
That works for me
Maybe
too.
we should do it with Michael and Jeff, just in case.
Yeah.
I thought that was being continued, 44, excuse me.
4014 is 4414 is not.
And I have to recuse myself.
Chairman, what happened in Heller's Way, that says it's being continued, but we only agreed to continue that for 1 month.
Because there is not a quorum with Michael, who is a city member, absent, the applicant and the attorney opted to continue to October to potentially have a quorum. Now, you know there will not be a quorum in October. He understands he has to bring it back for opening in October.
And you were going to read in, Michael, right? You emailed back.
I thought I was doing that today.
Oh, okay, got it. No, I think that was for,
No, I was just asking you to be prepared to read in for the next one.
the next one.
Mark just.
Oh, my bad. Please. Okay. Anyway, having said all that, let's do it. 4414 George D. Williams and Mary V. Williams, 11 Pochick Street, for the applicant. Somebody. Okay. So Jeffrey, Mark can't sit, so it's up to you to be prepared. What? Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you. I'm George Williams, standing in for Mary Williams. And Mary asked me first to thank the board for their cooperation, particularly Eleanor Antonetti for her helpful and pleasant way she deals with the applicants. But this application is very simple. It's gotten a little confusing, but I'd like to make it simple again and eliminate the confusion. What we're applying for is 111 square feet of additional space on the property for the purposes of a bathroom. We're not applying for a change of use. We're not applying to convert the garage into living space. That's simply what the application is for. We think you might consider approving it for 3 reasons. First is it's in keeping with all the other houses on Pochek Street. They're all the Underhill cottages, and they've all been added on to extensively. And this is a minor addition, and I believe it'll still be the least dense cottage on all of Pochek Street once it's granted, if it's granted. Secondly, it's such a minor request that 100 square feet is allowed without a hearing and without a permit. We're asking for 111 square feet. So in a way, we're asking for 11 square feet additional to what is considered a right under the zoning bylaw. And then the final reason is that having a 1-bedroom in a 3-bedroom cottage, or 1 bathroom in a 3-bedroom cottage, is a hardship, even if the guest is your grandchild. And these cottages are designed so compactly and so well that there's no practical way of putting on another bathroom without putting on an addition. And that's been the sort of the history of Pochek Street and the additions. And so that those are the reasons. And I just have one final comment. There was an abutter letter that sort of painted Mary with a little bit of exaggeration. And we're not asking for a change of use of the garage. We're not asking that to be living space. And the house was only used for 10 days this year. And once the lady next door said she didn't like air conditioning, the air conditioner was never on again after 6 o'clock at night. So there's nobody in Sconset who's a better neighbor and more compliant than Mary Williams, and I think it'll stay that way. So thank you for your consideration. Would be well pleased if you could approve this.
Thank you. Any questions from the board at this point?
Looks like the setback, is the setback going to be 5 feet or 3 feet from the property line?
Looks like it's going to be 3 feet, 4 3/4 inches. Is that correct? Mark, are you part of this application?
I can't be, I wasn't prepared to speak. I haven't seen these plans for 2 years,
Okay, never mind.
but I do not, I believe it is 3 to something.
It looks like it's
That's the existing, excuse me.
right, and then the bathroom that connects the 2 buildings looks like it's an additional 4 inch, and we're going to call it 5 inches, 4 3/4 inches back. So it's in the setback, Michael.
It's 1.4, right? 1.4 minus plus 4 1/4 inch.
I'm looking at this where it says 3 feet.
Oh, got it. Okay, I was looking at the site plan. So it's 2.3 plus whatever the setback is from this other corner. 4 3/4 inches. So it's going to be 2 feet, 8 inches off the property line. That's 2, 3 here.
Well, it gets smaller again.
Oh,
I guess I'm looking at the wrong thing.
Look at page,
23?
23, so I'm looking
yeah,
at.
23, yeah. Anyway, it's inside the 5. Eleanor, the applicant said something to the effect that if it were 100 square feet, you don't have to come before us? Is that, what's? No.
That's how I understood it from the building perspective.
I don't think so. But it's a moot point anyway. Maybe if it were a shed, but I don't know. We don't know why. Anyway, anybody else? Comments? Did everybody get a chance to read the neighbors' comments?
Yeah, my recollection is they were mainly concerned about the change of use of that garage structure, which it
Right.
doesn't sound like that's taking place anymore.
Is the half bath, it's currently in the office, it exists.
That exists, yes, sir.
Why was this restricted back in the day to no human habitation? Because they were going too close to a lot line? Oh, yeah. What day was it? That was 1995. Happy to report I wasn't on that. Anybody in the audience want to talk about this one?
Hi,
Hey.
I'm Angus McClellan. My wife and I have been living on Nantucket Street, restoring the houses all surrounding the Williams. Our understanding, and really we're here just representing the people across the street and on either side of or in behind. Just that everyone had the understanding that the garage was originally intended for just simply that garage to house the Lowe's.
Yeah. One at a time, thank you. One at a time.
The Lowe's VW, they kept that in there forever. And I think that was the purpose of it, and they weren't trying to gain it as a dwelling use or habitation. They just wanted to be able to put their car there. So I think that's how that all began. But the neighbors on either side, behind and beside them, the neighbors are 5 feet from their headboard of their master bedroom to the garage. Their understanding was that was kind of a buffer. That was the garage. And so the concern was about it being changed, a change of use. But it sounds like that's being withdrawn, so that's no longer a
Yeah,
concern.
it doesn't show up on our drawings that we're looking at, other than that it's going to remain a garage bay. So,
Well, there's the office space. The office space would have to remain,
does that office space exist as an office now, or no?
Currently exists in the fashion that's being proposed on these plans.
Yeah, so,
No
so then no
alterations
change.
are being made to the garage.
right, so that wall exists in
For
between.
clarification, it's because the house is now being attached to the garage structure that we're talking about this at all. There was a 6-inch gap between them, we wouldn't be talking about the garage.
Right. Because that office space currently exists, as shown in these plans.
Right.
So,
So literally, if the two buildings were not connected, arguably, you'd still have to be here because of,
yes, the,
Setback.
for the setback intrusion.
Why can't that just slide over?
except that it's a special permit, and it's already only, you know,
1.1 feet.
yeah, I don't have a problem with that. It's not getting any closer to the setback than the garage currently sits.
Are there any similar cases that have come before this board that, trying to look at this old decision here?
Well, I mean, certainly similar with respect to additions
Setback.
in
they
the
did.
setback, you know, no closer than, and this is actually arguably further away.
Right. They could have brought it out beyond that wall.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the previous decision focusing on the garage, nothing's changing in the garage for us to even,
Well, you know, the previous decision, I guess this is the 19 whatever.
Right, yeah,
The garage existed, but the 64 square feet
for the
of
wall.
addition was put on
right.
with the notion,
But it just says no living space for human habitation and used as a garage and a workshop's office.
yeah, I'm good with workshop office. So we would maintain that.
Yeah.
I think at a minimum, we're going to tell you, you cannot use that office workroom as anything other than an office workroom.
I don't think he's asking us.
No, I know that. I'm just saying. I think we would probably reiterate that, don't you think?
Yeah, the conditions of the old special permit.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, was there further comment from anybody? Did you want to speak? Just identify yourself for the tape, please.
And we've been living on Patriot Street for 20 years. So no one had a problem with anybody sleeping in the garage. Obviously, for your kids, you want to put them in tents if you have to keep them coming. But I think it was the way everything happened, and no one was made aware of it. And I know there has been an issue with the neighbors with the air conditioning. And we taught people out of air conditioning so they can hear the city, and they come back and thank us for that. So to have it, to be told you should have gotten air conditioning was just not a neighborly thing. So I think it caused a lot of ruffled feelings, and then to find out that there was an application for change of use that happened, I guess, in August or something, and everybody got all concerned because they're tight little spaces, and you do know your neighbors on that street. So that's just, nobody has a problem with anybody sleeping in the garage, put the kids in there. It's just that once it became a rental, it's on the market now for sale, so then that changes the whole dynamic going forward with what might happen, what could happen with it being that close to a line that had been, I guess, legally.
Well, it wouldn't be a second dwelling anyway.
So I think that to clarify, I think there's been some confusion because it looks to me like the applicant was only asking for a change of use if the board required that in order to grant the relief for the bathroom, which we don't have to do.
Right, because there's
So
nothing mentioned on that.
Right, so I think that it appears to me anyway that it was listed as a, if that's what needs to happen to let the bathroom go, then we're happy to do that. Because they have to list everything in the application, or if they miss asking for something, then they would have to go back, do public notice, and it would just take a lot longer. So it's better to, put everything in and then have it.
Is there a way that the bathroom can just stop here? I think that
It has nothing to do with the garage, is what we're saying. Like, the garage is a whole separate thing that has a special permit already attached to it, so we only need to talk about the bathroom.
The only thing they asked for was a bathroom.
Right. Right.
Mr. Chairman, if I may clarify.
Please.
As I said in the staff report, some people may not have had a chance to read that. The applicant came to me, the zoning administrator, for administrative relief. I thought that she was eligible because the addition was, yes, in the setback, but it wasn't going further into the setback. And according to the new bylaw, I can grant administrative relief because she was not encroaching further into the setback. It's just an extension. However, I found when I drafted my decision, I went and did some research, and I found a prior special permit which had a very specific restriction. Given that the garage is being attached to a dwelling, it is becoming a part of the dwelling. Therefore, in discussing with my supervisor, it was felt that special permit relief, either a modification of that special permit or a new special permit needed to be the direction that the board would take.
Okay. I think I get it. Because, yeah, all right.
So I think what you said before, we could uphold the conditions of the existing special permit.
Right.
And allow for this to not encroach further into the setback. That sort of covers both, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's,
So are the neighbors now saying that, understanding that this is just a bathroom addition, and that's okay so long as we reiterate that the garage remains a garage and the office remains an office or painting studio or whatever it is?
That's correct. I don't believe there's an issue with anyone having an issue with the bathroom. It was when the change of use came up that then everyone wondered what was happening.
Okay.
So it seems just like a misunderstanding.
Yes.
On details.
okay. I'm okay. Everybody else?
I am.
Want to make a motion then, somebody?
I'll make a motion to approve the relief as requested with the continuation of the conditions from the original special permit being carried over.
Except also in addition, I guess that's going to be fixed. Originally, they were allowed 30%, it's now 50%.
Right, I saw that.
Right, so that condition you're saying, Karen, doesn't need to
Doesn't
be,
apply.
yeah, reiterated. So it's really simply we're saying that the office, workroom, and garage cannot be used for human habitation.
Yes.
Without further relief, you can always come
Right.
back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I would think many of the buildings out there morphed and warded and had a garage that was attached, that became living space, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't see any issue with this myself.
Lisa, that's your motion?
Yeah.
I'll second.
All right. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
You're good to go. Okay, moving on. I don't think I'm in a butter to 14 West Sankaty, because what's in a butter, 300 feet?
Yes.
And if I got a notice, I didn't notice it. Why don't you do that, just to be sure? Please.
How's your sugar level?
I tried to eat before I came, so it was good for a while.
Did you be listed as the owner or is it
Yes. 28 Brunel. I think it's more than 300 feet, but
Yes.
one never knows.
It's only when there's the load plan.
Okay. That's good enough for me. All right, so 4514, Daniel Schroth and Whitney Schroth, 14 West Sankaty Road, for the applicant.
Good afternoon. I'm Whitney Schrouth. I'm the owner and the architect. So we just purchased this property, and this is intended to be our home, and this cottage that we're asking for permission to rebuild will be my office and studio. So basically, if you all have seen it, it's really dilapidated in its current condition, and instead of just literally rebuilding it exactly in its same profile, instead I propose to rebuild it within its same footprint, but make it ever so slightly smaller, and to go back and actually propose the form that the original structure actually had. From my research and from Joe Swain, the previous owner, he mentioned that the original structure was actually a gable form that was a warming hut relocated from the cranberry bogs. And then his dad added on the little lean-to addition, which causes its unique profile that you currently see. So I propose to, it's not salvageable in its current state, so I do propose to demo it and rebuild it. And I made it a little bit smaller to give myself a little bit of extra ground coverage to add a little exterior storage addition, which there's currently none on the property. So, and I went to the HDC on Tuesday, and they gave their green light on the massing and the design. Their only comment was changing, muttons to, 12 lights instead of 10, and 6/1s instead of 4/1s. So as you can see, we're not proposing to exacerbate any of the nonconformities, but to keep the existing distance within the setback, and make the building, slightly smaller, like I said. And, yeah, that's it. I'll answer any questions if you have them.
Is there nothing to do with the main house, though?
As Eleanor mentioned, the main house, we officially put it in there. It would have otherwise gone through administratively. We're just proposing dormers to the upper level of the main house.
Okay.
And it's in conformance with all of its setbacks and building height and ground cover.
So the drawings we should be looking for in the packet are your drawings, not the Emeritus drawings?
Correct. The emeritus are the as-built, and my sketches were my preliminary proposed drawings. And I apologize that they're by hand, but it was quicker
Okay.
while I was out here to
I'm
just do it that way.
confused what superseded what?
Yeah, so they did my as-built for both.
So if you, this is more for Eleanor than you, if you demolish the building,
Yes.
We've certainly granted this relief before where you can demolish and lose your grandfathering for a moment kind of thing in time.
If you build it in substantially the same footprint and don't cause new nonconformities, it's carried forward.
It's a
But
special
it requires a
permit.
special permit.
Right.
I cite the bylaw,
You have it right here.
139.
Dash 33.
33D1, if you'd like.
I got it. Not
And then, and none of the roof lines are all remaining the same height,
Uh,
or they're getting taller?
No, I'm proposing to make it slightly taller.
So is that, so that would be a different bylaw, because, not that I have a problem with it, but because its form is getting taller. Which way is the gable running?
I'm proposing to reverse the gable. It currently goes east to west. I'm proposing for it to go north to south, the ridge.
So it will be getting taller
On-
in the
yeah.
setback,
Substantial.
yeah. So just, I don't know if we have to do anything differently than what's been approved, requested, but that's a difference. So that wouldn't be considered something that can be done administrative, I mean, that's a different
The
animal.
vertical
right?
expansion of a setback, as long as it's not going further towards the lot line, is administratively eligible.
Oh,
As
it
long as
is?
it's under 30 feet. That's the way the bylaw is now worded.
30 feet, or in this case, because Lincoln is the front, what is the setback from Lincoln, which is now the front yard,
The setback at the closest point is 3.9 feet, and at the corner, it's 5.5.
What about the 1.9 on the side yard?
That's, yeah, that would be the north setback. That's remaining the same. It currently is 1.9 and would remain 1.9, and then in the other corner, 3.9.
Right, but you're going vertically up in that setback. And you're allowed to do that administratively?
If it's under 30 feet and it's not going approaching further into the setback towards the lot line.
Really?
It surprises me. So you could turn this into a two-story building without getting further relief. That doesn't make sense.
Well, this is an accessory structure, and there's a scalar separation issue as well. So she is currently, according to plans that I looked at, I believe 8 feet in the main loan. So there will be issues with anything like that wherever to occur. She'd have to come back for special approval.
Yeah, but Lisa's point is well taken. So if this building had to not have the scalar separation issue,
I will say this, that in discussing with my supervisors, if a bump out or something that could be considered an extension, administratively eligible, however, if it is something more substantial that a neighbor would be concerned with, we would bring it before the board. It is a bit of a case-by-case basis.
yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly, we've had.
I would err on the side of,
A deck stair.
I don't want to be HTC Junior and say you've got to bring everything to us.
The
but-
Perlmans who just withdrew, that was an expansion, vertical expansion within the setback of an accessory structure.
Right.
Why did they have to come then?
He came before they changed the bylaw. Of this year's 18.
Is that why he's able to withdraw them?
Well, he has special permit relief that is established, he can only go to 17 and 20, whatever.
Right.
Something on that.
Right.
So he would have to come back because he has a special permit that says that is the situation.
I just wonder why my client is here then later. You know, because we're raising the roof on that shed on Cliff Road, why is she here?
Let's not get up
Problem.
So without that, she wouldn't have had to have come. What did this bylaw change? I've never heard of this bylaw before.
It's 125 pages of changes.
No, it was recent, and the idea was so that we don't see every little thing.
No, I
that we're-
understand that. I thought that, I didn't even realize that with vertical expansion, that within a setback, that got,
Yeah, I was under the impression that it was, if you were out, if you used to be in the setback, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, because I probably am, your building's in the setback, but you wanted to put a dormer outside the setback.
then
You
you
used-
don't have to come.
But you used to have to go.
Yes, used to.
So I thought that's what we
That's
were
what-
clearing up, for the administrator to say, but now you don't even need administrative relief to do that any longer.
No, because as long as your additions are outside of the setback, whether or not your building is
Right.
pre-existing non-conforming, you can go forward. But this seems odd that you can raise a roof within a setback without relief.
Well, it's not without relief, you have to get administrative relief.
Well, that's true.
And if
So-
others do get them.
And the abutters do get notified. All I would say, again, without going crazy here, you'd want to err heavily on the side of caution with that one.
That's why we had situations like this one where we brought it here because we felt it was substantial.
You should probably run it by the new chair.
At the end of the meeting.
No, all kidding aside, I mean on a case-by-case basis, just a phone call that, with chair or chairwoman, I might add. Okay, anyway, we got off the subject a little bit. It was the right subject,
That's
but
okay.
how do we feel about this particular application going up?
I mean, as I said, I don't have an issue with it. I just, it's going at how much, 4 feet, something like that?
No, the, little less than that, about 3.5.
And not in its entirety, it's only, 3.5 of the little peak.
Exactly, it's only the central part that's any taller.
Exactly.
Well, but you could make the argument it's, so right now the gable faces Lincoln?
Yes.
Oh, it does face.
Yeah, so that was my other idea, is to not have it look, obviously, my proposed building is in fact taller, but to focus the peak form towards away from the street.
Yeah.
To
So
make it come
the
down lower
issue
to the
is
street.
back, if you will, of the building is going up in the setback. Is that what you're talking about?
No, the ridge is here,
Right. So it's going up here.
the side of the building. This is the back, right? This is Lincoln.
Yeah, but the gable is here, right? Yeah, the ridge is there.
Yeah, now it runs this way, now it's running this way. But it's a sort of a softbox, so it's closer to Lincoln than it is towards the back. Correct? It's not symmetrical.
No, it's not symmetrical.
Okay.
I don't have an issue with it.
Susan? No? Anybody in the audience want to talk about this one? No. All right. Karen, Michael? No? Anybody want to make a motion?
Move to grant the relief as requested.
All right,
Construction.
Yeah.
Doing construction in Wisconsin.
it's up to you guys. I don't agree with it, but
You don't agree with what?
the
We can put a
construction
restriction
restriction.
on it.
Oh,
It's up to you guys.
where is it in
Historically,
relation to the town that's
Oh, it's right in it.
it's right in.
Yeah.
I'd say probably put those dates.
On the whole property or just that building?
Whatever the new construction is, exterior construction.
On either building?
On the property, exterior construction.
All of it?
All of it.
Because there's 3 structures on that property, correct? There's 2.
So yes, on both structures.
I'm sorry, can you clarify to me exactly what you guys are discussing?
We normally put a restriction that there'll be no construction between Memorial Day and...
Exterior
Exterior construction, Memorial Day and...
Definitely. Famous last words. Please. Please.
Whatever we've been doing as a standard now.
You do quiet interior.
You can do anything on the inside you want.
No noise, no cutting of landscape. Oh, yeah. And interior carpentry you can do. You just can't have your saws set up outside. Yeah.
I think Wisconsin's down in September 15th, whereas the 4th district is in Wednesday.
No,
I think
I don't
September
think
15th is
so.
fine.
no. I think Labor Day is fine.
I think it should be June 15th to September 15th. Because I also think that the Memorial Day seems early. I mean, as long as you're respectful to your neighbors, you're not going to be out there.
Well, they're not.
It's not everybody.
We're not speaking of
No,
you
it's easy.
personally, but,
So, I mean, the standard has been Memorial Day through Labor Day, and that's what I'm proposing.
Okay.
I'll second that motion.
all right, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to go nay, only because of the restriction. I don't think we should be imposing it any longer, but good luck. Well, can I vote only against the restriction? No, I figured not, so I'm against the relief, but
I have to sit off the next two.
The only problem with voting, with not having any restriction, is if we're in the heart of the old historic downtown Nantucket, you know, that they're redoing an inn or a restaurant or something, and they're working in the middle of summertime, I mean.
Turns out to be a nightmare.
Well, I see your point, but if I don't need relief here, I can do whatever the hell I want,
agree.
whenever I want. And I don't know that, certainly I think the time period should be compressed. I think Memorial Day is, you know, you can't do it on Memorial Day weekend, and then you can re-up. Instead of coming here, every big commercial project that has come before us and had to get ZBA relief, they've come for an extension, for whatever reason, fires, they just didn't get it done.
Yeah.
And we grant it, because June is typically relatively quiet. And I just don't think it's, you know, within reason fair that your neighbor can rock and roll and you cannot. So, whatever.
You
Just
know
me.
what, I'm not disagreeing, but I think we should have that discussion again sometime about whether we want to impose it or not.
Yeah, well, that's.
In general, and
Yeah.
then if it's something.
All right, I seem to be the only one, so it's, I'm not taking it personally.
No,
Okay. Next. Where are we here?
4614.
4614, Dennis Shapiro, trustee of Dionis Realty Trust, 73 Eel Point Road, for the applicant, the esteemed Mr. Reed? No? Not here. So, is anybody here for this one? I know there's some opposition here, but, or maybe not, but, all right, well, we're going to shelve this one, if that's okay with everybody, for a few minutes. Okay. Going to have to talk to the applicants. Eleanor. So we're skipping 47, we're going to 48, if he's here. 4814, Kevin Conrad, 3 Perry Lane, oh, he is here, for the applicant.
Joseph Gay for the applicant.
So, what do we got here, 2, 5, we're good.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I represent Kevin Conrad, and he owns a heating and air conditioning business. Recently purchased a property at 5 Perry Lane, previously been owned by Demo and Pam Markin, and had operated a food item distribution service from that location. This board had previously granted relief, initial relief back in '98, and then subsequent modification of that relief on 2 occasions in '02 and '03. And relating to Mr. Markin's business, my client's business is a heating and air conditioning. His intent is to use the first floor as commercial and change the use from the food item business previously operated to the to commercial storage and warehousing of heating and air conditioning. There's an ancillary office that was previously approved by this board. He would maintain that, my client would maintain that ancillary office on the first floor. The second floor would remain unchanged. I proposed in the application either an approval of a new special permit superseding the prior permit and the prior modifications of the original permit, or in the alternative, yet a third now modification of the original permit for, as I say, a change of use on the first floor for commercial storage and warehousing of heating and air conditioning supplies and materials with 1 ancillary office. And I'm also asking this board to special permit relief to validate the site plan prepared by Mike Connolly that accompanies the application, showing the existing conditions on the premises, including loading zone, the 6 parking spaces on site, the concrete apron, the fencing, the privet hedge, and the like.
Okay, thank you. Questions, concerns, thoughts?
I have just one question for the applicant. Joe, is the ancillary office use within the gross floor area of 1,900 square feet that's on your parking requirements table? Is it inclusive of that 1,900 square feet?
I believe it is.
Okay,
I believe it is.
all right, because we're calculating spaces simply for storage and not for office use in the table of parking requirements. It says employees use space 1 and 2, and then the apartments use 3, 4, 5, and 6.
That's correct.
So if the employers are using that, where's the parking in concert with the storage? Is it there? I mean, when you do a parking calculation, you do one for the amount of building area for the use, and then you do one for 1 per 3 employees, correct? So wouldn't the parking calculation be 7? What's that?
He did ask for the extent necessary waiver.
Okay.
I did ask for, to the extent necessary, a waiver.
For parking?
Right.
Okay, thank you.
There are employees, but there's only one person that it actually
fine.
is in the location. Okay,
Want to
thank
make
you.
sure you were asking for parking
I did.
waivers if we felt it was necessary.
Okay, so you're asking for one space, if you will, a waiver for one space.
Right, based upon the calculations set forth that are shown on that site plan, yes.
Okay.
Loading zone?
I was out there yesterday, and when they built this building, they have a loading dock so that you're backing a truck down, and so that you're level with the loading dock, basically. And there's probably tandem parking, I saw tandem parking for 6 trucks in front of that loading dock. Plus there was parking, I didn't go around the building, there's parking on the back of the building, plus they park along the side of the building. So that's one of those situations like that I saw where they park on the property in spaces that aren't necessarily designated as parking spaces, but it all seemed to work. And I noticed there's something in the a letter from an abutter talking about no street parking, and that's certainly something.
Yeah, we can certainly tack that on there, the no street parking. What about,
And I don't see this as being any different than what Demo did there, really.
no,
Storage and warehousing, basically. And he had a.
I mean, will there be some, you say there's employees here, I mean, is there fabrication being done?
Not to my knowledge, no. It's just storage of supplies and equipment. And other than the one office employee, they're just employees that come pick up materials and go to sites.
It's certainly not out of the realm of reality to think that there's fabrication of the ducts and whatnot there, but, so we have, but you're not asking for that, so they can't fabricate anything there. Just keep it in
Well,
mind.
now you're putting me in a spot. I don't have Mr. Conrad. I can certainly try to contact him.
Well, it would change things, wouldn't it, if you're not just storing and warehousing?
I understand it's strictly storage and warehousing, so to the
Just
extent...
tell your client that, yeah, it is strictly, please.
I will.
Because otherwise, I'm not saying that relief might not be granted, but we might have other conditions, like
Understand.
air conditioning, et cetera, so,
If he seeks that fabrication or an alteration to the strictly storage and warehousing, he has to come back before you. That's what you're saying.
right, I am. Okay, so, is there anybody else in the audience want to talk about this one? No. What about the board? Do we want to impose certain conditions, time?
So we have this big list of conditions, right?
We do from some other ones. Do you want me to read them, or do you want to read them?
I mean,
The open space requirement of 20% should be maintained as shown on the attached plan. I mean, we don't necessarily have to say that. That's, you know. Dumpsters and trash receptacles shall be enclosed by an approved board fence not less than 6 feet in height. And do we have any space for dumpsters and whatnot here on this
thought there was
I don't. Well, I mean, you could definitely put it along the side of the building, and it just needs to be fenced. Can't have a big roll-off in the front of the building. So we'll put that in there unless anybody thinks we shouldn't. We're good with that? No more than 3 commercial vehicles associated with the applicant's business stored on the present premises is at any given time?
That was on the previous permit, so it may not be applicable.
Okay, these were the ones that Demo had. Okay. Does Mr. Conrad have more than 3 commercial
I
vehicles?
believe he does.
Do we need to?
Because
look?
if-
It looks like he's
I don't know
got
why-
space.
Well, from a straight-up parking situation, if the apartments get 2,
The apartment gets 4.
2 each,
That only leaves
you're
2
only left
spaces.
2. So I don't think we speak about how many you can have.
Well, wait a second, when that permit was issued, those apartments only needed 1 each. This thing was built a long time ago before we went to 2
I know, but
parking.
we're changing the use, are we not?
Yeah, but he's here now.
We have to comply with the parking regulations as they speak today, or seek a larger waiver for more parking spaces.
Well, arguably, he would be able to park 3 commercial vehicles, which would be in the 1 wave space and the 2 others.
Right.
So why don't we, should we leave that?
I'm good with that.
That's fine.
No outdoor storage of goods and materials related to the applicant's business?
Again, that was a food item business, but no, everything would be interior storage.
Right. The vegetative screening is in?
Yes, and there's mature
Michael, you
hedge
saw it
and
all?
privet hedge.
Well, I saw screening, yes. I mean, did I get out there and walk around and see if there was screening all around? No, I did not notice.
There's fencing around the
Fencing
majority
around,
of the
yeah.
Well, I
property.
mean, the as-built states there's existing fence around
Yes.
the entire perimeter.
And there is,
Michael didn't see it, though.
Well, I wasn't looking for it, I was looking more at the site itself rather than the perimeter of the site.
Well, I think we can rely on the as-built.
I can represent that I was just out at the site, and it's there. And in fact, the neighbor at 3 Perry, Von Campen, within the last year, you issued a special permit for him. And there is a new boarding fencing entirely along the boundary, the common boundary between 3 and 5.
All right.
Which was a condition under his special permit.
How about hours of operation? 7 to 7, Monday through Saturday, no operation on Sunday. The ancillary office can be used at any time. Good with that?
Are we still going to use that wording of workshop in there? Because we're basically,
Right, it's storage,
yeah, I want to change that.
right, so.
So, of the storage and warehousing.
Warehouse,
No parking on the private way known as Perry Lane of vehicles associated with the applicant's business or the tenants. There are 2 apartments
yeah.
And they have parking on site.
or tenants. Vehicles parked on the premises shall not back onto the private way. That's a tough one.
You can't control that.
Yeah, I think
Everybody else does.
I think we can scratch that. No retail sales on the premises, fair enough. The applicant shall provide 6 parking spaces. Screening, blah, blah, blah. And an apron onto Perry Lane. There's no apron now?
There is.
It says there is, so
Yeah.
we don't,
Really don't.
they don't have to
Just
provide it. It's on the plan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All site improvements shall be installed and maintained as shown on the site plan. I'm good with those. Yeah? Okay. Should we make a motion then?
I just have one question about the apron. It would appear that there's an existing gravel driveway that runs out to the street,
Yes.
and maybe that's the apron they're referring to,
A good point.
as opposed to the apron dealing with the loading zone area. I just wanted to clarify that, because it doesn't look like there is an apron at the end of the gravel driveway.
Well, it begs the question also, can you have an apron
Right.
the entirety of your property?
Correct.
I don't know. The apron to the existing concrete apron is for the, isn't it sloped down there, Michael?
Yes, I'm trying to think, I don't know what the surface is. I don't know what the surface is.
The surface is concrete according to the document,
Well, it must be concrete all the way to the road then.
all the way to the road. The apron to the road surface is concrete. Then the gravel driveway comes in that services the tenants. I just want to make sure that we clarified that we
Yeah.
weren't looking for another apron or some other feature
We're
on
looking
the
to make
gravel
sure that the
drive.
apron is there where,
Where it's shown on the site plan.
I just assume not have another apron personally, so, because it demarcates what belongs to the tenants of the apartments as a separate driveway, than going concrete all the way across and all of a sudden having commercial vehicles think that they can come in on that drive.
Well, that's not 100% true, Mark, because only 3 of the parking spaces are back there on a plan
true.
basis.
Right.
I'm not saying on a practical basis.
Right, I got you.
Anyway, I don't, we're not blessing the fact that there is no apron either. If he's required to have another curb cut or whatever, that's on him, I would say.
Appears to exist.
Well, it exists, but whether or not it's kosher is,
Well, aren't we signing off on this plan? Isn't that the
Mr. Chairman, on the previous plan submitted with, when Demo owned the property, all the plans submitted with all three decisions shown apron to the, south, on the southeast corner. I'm not clear if that is still there, I assume it is. But it is not shown on the plans.
yeah, it's not shown. I mean, I'm seeing the big 60-foot apron, but, you're not, I don't think you're supposed to apron your entire property.
not without a special permit?
Not by us.
No, by the planning board.
Right. So we're not blessing anything in terms of,
Any other jurisdiction?
yeah, just FYI.
Understand.
I mean, one of them has a, if I'm looking at this correctly, I can't read it because it's blurry, but it's a very narrow apron. And then, so you may or may not be in compliance with. But then this one, which is 98, has a big one. Anyway, that's really, I guess, your problem in terms of, no, the 2003, look at page 115, if you guys don't mind. It's definitely not, it's showing one apron as you come in, it's much narrower, and the driveway connects, doesn't go out to the street.
No, you're looking at a different application. You want to look at 98. When you get to 115, you're in the, oh, no, I'm sorry, you're correct.
I'm looking at, look at
Yeah,
this.
that's odd.
This is 2003,
Yeah, some-
120.
Shows all the landscaping,
But look, it
screening.
shows landscape.
Yeah, it shows
It's
it's
a whole
screened, it
different,
doesn't show a
different
driveway
plan.
100 feet across the width
Yeah,
of
now
this
we've got a gravel
property.
driveway that comes in.
So,
here,
or
we've got
60 or
that, so
whatever.
it's
that-
odd.
60.
Plan isn't as permitted.
It sounds like they made it bigger.
see if they're looking at it.
Yeah, did you look at page 120
Yeah, same basic plan.
as what?
Yeah, this,
Yeah, it's 115.
this is all.
So the bottom line is that site plan, we can't approve that, I don't think. Unless we're okay with it.
Well, so is there, so is that second curb cut approved?
No,
That's not for us to,
120 doesn't.
Right.
I mean,
That's 03, this is 02.
it's an entirely different access off of Perry Lane.
Right. Well, then the condition makes sense with these other plans, not with the plan we have.
right, well, right. So but that condition doesn't necessarily make sense because it speaks to the site plan that was was given to us, and that site plan shows the driveway connected to the street, whereas every other one that we've approved has it connected to the existing apron, so.
But these are just conditions you got from the old decision, right? To see if we wanted to continue.
But I also looked at all these plans, and I saw the apron was not shown where it used to be.
No, the apron's where it's shown on these
There's just an
plans.
addi-
It's just, there's an additional,
The parking's moved.
you know, I think the idea, which was reasonable, was you could screen a little of this from the road, but not drive right out onto the road. So I would prefer to go back to the old site plan
Yeah.
in terms of the apron. You get your one apron, and, you know, what you do as a practical matter is, but
When did the gravel, do you have any idea when
That I
the
don't know,
gravel?
but it existed when my client purchased it.
I'm not ready to bless that myself, but
Would you be able to bless the site, the most recent site plan by Mike Connolly with the exception of that gravel entranceway? And then I'd have to deal with that as far as a curb cut, an additional curb cut on Perry. The apron hasn't changed, to my knowledge. Nothing else as far as existing conditions has changed.
yeah, the split rail fence would have to be removed between the existing gravel driveway and the other thing, and the driveway exits there, which I think is closer to the intent of the bylaw. You get one exit from your property, so.
So the condition you'd be imposing would be the removal of that split rail fence, so that it would mirror the previous site plan then.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm willing to basically approve or vote to approve it. I don't know what everybody else wants to do, and then with the caveat that a new site plan has to be given to us, more in keeping with.
So you're saying you wouldn't want to bless the 60-foot apron? That's correct.
Well, it's not 60 feet. I was mistaken, too. It's 60 feet is the width.
Width of
This
the-
is the
okay.
existing apron. That's fine. It's there, and it's in reasonable compliance with the old ones that we approved. I mean, unless we want to get out the ruler.
What split rail fence are you referring to?
Intern within
Between the gravel driveway and the concrete parking.
Oh,
And he's moved them.
So you have to exit out of the existing apron.
Moved a little bit right here.
He slid the parking back, and
What do you
then
think?
just jammed it in there.
Yep. So you good with that? We could approve we could vote, make a motion to grant the relief as requested with these conditions, but with the caveat that a new site plan has to be submitted, showing basically one exit from the property in substantial compliance, or whatever the right word is, with previously approved site plans.
well, I would accept that the area where where that existing gravel drive moves out onto Perry Lane currently, that be fenced.
Okay, so you'd like that fence, so
Well, I
it
think so. That way it just makes it easier to,
police.
So it just goes back to the site plan otherwise. How
there's
does,
so many site
Either
plans.
fencing or edging, would that be?
Yeah, fence or hedging, yeah.
I'm being nitpicky, but the parking, now that I look at it, looking at the old site plan that had 2 parking spaces,
But at 4 in total, yeah.
well, like here, right? There are 2 here,
back
and then
there,
all of a sudden you got 9 more feet out of there? Where did that come from? And there's a fence and a stoop, and the parking pushed back. So how does that fit?
Which site plan are you looking
If
at?
I'm looking at O2,
On page,
and on page 115, and then I'm looking at the page 98. 98 has
Well, Mike,
the
3.
spaces behind the building, there are only 2, and now all of a sudden
There's
there's
3, because there was 1 space up where that gravel drive now exits. So I'm just curious how all of a sudden they got 9 feet, when it says it's 29.4 feet across. You've got a stoop, and it says there's a fence. How you fit another parking space in there?
well,
Well, you could fit a compact parking space in there for residential parking.
Well, the engineer has averred that there are 3 spaces.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not,
It just,
I would hope he isn't.
Drawing and saying parking, it didn't give specific.
He's saying there are 3,
it
the
says
building's.
9 by 20.
Yeah, but the building is 29.4, so 3 times 9 is 27. So
Plus you get a
this,
stoop and a fence.
You can tell they're a little bit further away in the old time zone
Yeah.
with the edge of the
Yeah.
building.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious.
and it's a reasonable concern. It's just, I think we have to,
Like you're stepping off this, if it's a
you're stepping.
stoop, you're stepping into a parking spot now. Right?
Yeah.
I think like a lot of things that,
It's a
They
no, it's
make
just a concrete entry pad.
they make it,
That's-
they make it
that's a
work.
stoop.
Door there.
Right, so the door's opening into a car.
They make it work because they have to. They need the parking and they make it work.
Yeah.
It's like a-
Well, no.
Well, no,
because
we know
they
that
could
from
have
a
made it work
practical
if you kept
standpoint,
The original, kept the original egress. and
Arguably,
kept the
Susan,
front.
they could shove those all the way to the
Yeah.
end, and then the stoop would be outside of the
Right.
parking
Right.
lot. I'm okay with that.
Okay, whatever.
Okay? Well, I think we should move on.
Okay.
So, new site plan showing that gravel driveway with a fence or vegetative screen. Is that your motion, Michael?
Yes.
Okay.
I think probably a fence would be better if they're going to be backing out onto Perry Lane.
Yeah.
A vegetative screening can be a real,
Okay.
I think we were going to scrap that.
real issue.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was gonna suggest the vegetative screening and ripping out at the end of my driveway. I can't see
Okay.
anything.
So the motion's been made. So these other conditions plus the new site plan, anybody want to second the motion?
A second.
All right, Susan seconds. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, go
And
on.
and a waiver of 1 parking space, correct?
And a waiver, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeffrey, you want to sit? You want to test this chair
I
out?
want to sit on Newport Road Avenue.
Okay.
Huge generator in the truck, like an installation.
Okay.
Not on mine.
So, Michael, so Michael, we need you.
Yeah. It's crazy.
10:30 at night.
At least it's not cold in here.
It's freezing. And at least like the techno music from the gym isn't blaring.
Is that what,
Can you-
is that what it is?
Downstairs, right? Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, the
I know,
weight
I'm like,
room's
all I can
downstairs.
hear is boom, boom, boom.
The
I
weight room's
know.
downstairs.
I'd like to ask them to
Is that
just,
open to the public?
should be, maybe it is. You can go get your stationary trainer.
Probably is, but,
I'm sure it is. You should try it out.
Yeah, we'll skip you to the last.
It's been going through the agenda like a hot knife through butter, I guess. We used to tell Mr. Gay. The screeching halt. Hey, that was early. I didn't want to sit around.
Arthur, do you have any large plans of this?
No.
Okay.
I do have a large, not
It's just,
current zoning issues, but I do have a larger plan that we use at the, Concom. It's just my,
I just thought maybe on the table around Ed, we could all
Hover around and get
congregate
warm.
and you can present it.
Get warm.
These are in order to close
there are differences between this and.
We haven't started.
Federal health draft.
All right, Arthur, let me call us all in order here. Okay, so you ready, Michael?
Yeah.
46 4614, Dennis Shapiro, trustee of Downfield Trust, 70 Street, Yale Point Road, for the applicant.
Attorney Arthur Reed. And what is going on here is as follows. My client, Susan and Dennis Shapiro, have a house that is on the water side of Yale Point Road on Bluff, which is eroding fairly rapidly. And as a result of that, they want to move it back. They own a lot on the north side of the former Tristram Avenue, which is on the water. They also own all along another smaller, undersized lot between Hill Point Road and, again, the former Tristram Avenue. Tristram Avenue has been taken by the town under the yard sale program to eliminate the road and to convey out parcels of the road to the abutting owners. And my clients have been in negotiation on that subject with the town for some time, and they've eventually come to terms. They'll be signing a One Big Beach easement and receiving a conveyance from the town of the yard sale parcel that lies adjacent to their property within Yale Point Road. When we filed this application, we were somewhat frustrated by the fact that it was dragging out in terms of the town's completing the process of putting out the RFP for the yard sale. And we meanwhile had approval from the HDC and from the Conservation Commission to go ahead and proceed. And while attempting to complete the yard sale transaction with the town, we wanted to be able to get started at least with the first phases of moving the project. And that's why we filed this application, in order to be able to start a little bit sooner than we otherwise would be. The town finally did get the yard sale RFP out. The bid closing date is September 25th. My clients, the way these things are set up, have first preference, and there's nobody else with first preference. So if they make a conforming bid for the property immediately adjacent to theirs, they wind up getting it. Consideration established by the town was no monetary consideration, but rather granting the One Big Beach easement. They've submitted their bid, specifically the price being the execution of the One Big Beach easement in the form that was attached by the town and which was attached to the bid. So they will wind up as soon as the town, with a certain amount of inertia in the process, but Andrew Vorse is attempting to move it along, as soon as the town can accomplish the process of conveying it to them, which we're anticipating now is probably going to be early November. Might be sooner, we're pushing, but it'll be somewhere around there. Once we have that, we won't need any relief in order to do what we're proposing here. What we are proposing specifically is to be able to put the house, move the house so that it will be at zero setback from the yard sale parcel. And until the yard sale parcel is purchased, it will not be conforming with ground cover ratio, because if you take the ground cover ratio based simply on the piece on the Hill Point Road side of Tristram Avenue, they'd be over the 4% that's permitted in this district. But once the yard sale purchase is completed, then those nonconformities would go away, and the reason for the variance that we're asking for would go away. Again, when we filed this, I think we thought that there was going to be a longer period of time before the town would have completed the yard sale process. We've actually been pushing the town on this for almost a year. But now it's close. I think if we can get relief, we're going to say in a few weeks, but that's what it boils down to.
Arthur, as a practical matter on the permitting side of this, you wouldn't actually have a recorded decision for about 2 months
Well, I think it's, you know, I know that when.
With the appeal period and everything else that goes.
I know that getting the decision filed, I know that getting you guys to sign the decision is something of a job of 30 cats sometimes for Eleanor, those who have been in her position before. I would hope that if I get a draft decision now, I'm going on vacation on Thursday of next week, and I would hope to have a draft decision in her hands before I go away, and then it would be up to her and you in terms of when.
I'll be away on Tuesday for 2 weeks.
Okay, well, see, there you go.
So what do you suggest, despite Arthur's comments that we look like cats,
I like cats.
some of us like cats, are you suggesting that he should go away and just?
No, I'm just saying where we are today.
I tend to agree with you.
And when a permit will be issued is about that same time when all of this apparently is going to be resolved.
Yeah.
So we're asking to really do something that I find difficult to do on a variance side of things.
Right.
Because any one thing could go wrong, but they would, they'd be doing it at their own risk. But I don't see how Marcus Silverstein's going to react to this positively when it crosses his desk at the permitting level.
Well, if they have the variance, why?
Well, he's still going to roll through it and see whether or not all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed.
As he has to in any case, I think the point is that we would save a little time, not much, but we'd obviously like to get this started so that we can get the project finished before, next summer.
Would you be amenable to an expiration date sooner than 1 year on the variance, if we could do that? I'm not even sure we could do that. Have an expiration date on a variance if we grant one to a certain period of time less than the standard year, just so that, they know that what we're being told is this is all going to wash away anyway?
Well, it's a question not of it's washing away, but getting too close to move readily. Plus, we know we're going to do it, and we want to get it done, right? The reason that Mr. Thayer can't sit on this is because Canada has already been engaged to do the move, and that's been pushed back a couple of times because of the process that we're dealing with.
And the moving of the dwelling, it would appear that there's a substantial new addition that's going on the building, which is causing your issue with your setback from the yard sale parcel.
The application, you're looking at the Concom plan, and that shows what we intend to build, but we would not be building into the town-owned yard sale parcel, obviously, until.
Well, that's what I was getting at. It looks like you had an encroachment here with your new addition. I'm saying, how do we close that?
Yeah, I don't, is the deck.
This is a plan that's, with some clarification, I can start to understand, but I'm looking at it and say, we can't endorse this particular plan.
The plan that you have before you, again, this is just because you wanted to see something on a bigger scale, trying to but the actual plan that we've submitted does not have any portion of what would be constructed.
Okay. All right. That
will come later.
It has the quote-unquote deck at 0. So I think if I were inclined to do this, or
this
vote
isn't a
for
plan
this.
that we'd endorse. We'd have to
That's just illustrative.
They're going to build this and not this now, but so we're looking at something that's going to be amended after all the various components go away.
I think typically we would
this is our
prefer
problem,
you
this portion
wait
of
for the yard sale to go through, then grant variance relief for a couple of weeks. If you come back next month and say the town is gagged and are not doing this, you'd still have a tough road, I think.
If the town, I mean, we have lots of big issues with the town in that situation, and the town has specifically been pushing us to do this project because they want the yard sale, the
big
one
beach.
big beach easement, which my clients were initially very reluctant to grant in the form that was originally proposed, and that's all been worked out. The form the town is now using is acceptable to them, and they've accepted that, and they've put it. I understand where you're coming from, and again, as I started out by saying, the reason that we filed this application when we did was that we were frustrated with the town's slowness, and we wanted to be able to get started with the project Again, with the objective being to get it done before the 2015 summer season.
Well, but as Mark said, you're not going to see a permit for at least 60 days, probably. Well, not even a permit. I mean, you won't even be able to apply for a permit.
Right. I mean, let's just say that we signed a document today and it went into the town clerk and went through the appeal period. Still 5 weeks after that before you're going to get a building permit. If you're ready to file for a building permit.
Right, but I guess
5 weeks after that.
the additional time would be you wouldn't have to wait to file. You could, I mean, with the yard sale, you're going to have to wait for the yard sale to have and then file. So arguably, you said middle of November. I mean, it sounds to me like about the same time, and I would.
Well,
It's not far off. I think.
I would prefer to wait, personally.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable basing a decision on a hypothetical. It's, it's just, I need to see it, and I need to have all the pieces there, and the pieces are not there right now.
By the way, one thing I would say is I think we meet every standard for variance. I mean, we're dealing with, in an erosion situation like this. We've got soil conditions and topography that are unique to the property in space.
Right, but you could present this project in conformance with zoning on your lot. I mean, not ground cover maybe, but setbacks.
By moving it way forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you said there was a wetlands issue
that gets complicated with
because of the septic
system.
Mm-hmm.
And
I get it.
The water gets narrower
We could
there.
make the deck smaller.
Well, the deck would have to be removed or made smaller, as Susan said. We're not going to. I would never even consider giving you the deck at this point.
If you got rid of the deck, then you
That's
could.
going to come later anyway.
Well,
But
there you
this
go.
is, but the deck is shown on this plan to the zero line,
Right.
right? So
Yeah,
if you got rid of the deck,
for now.
for now, you put it
You
back
know,
later.
and put it back when you don't have a zoning encroachment.
It is part of the house, it exists.
But it's not being moved as part of the house. They're going
It's
to
going
take
to be
it
a new
off.
deck.
Right.
So let's not go down that road.
Right, so you could, so what's the setback?
Well, in any event, I think that at the end of the day, you're probably right that there's not a significant difference in time. What I would request that we do under those circumstances, because, the town's bid opening hasn't happened yet, and there's I have absolutely no reason to believe that there will be any problem. As I say, I'm in close contact with Andrew about all of this. But what I would suggest would be that we continue this until the October 9 meeting. If we still have reason to believe that there's going to be a delay, that would push this thing so that we wouldn't be able to get it done, by next spring or early next summer, then we might want to push the point further, and also get input from the planning office as to what they think about it. And if in fact the yard sale process is proceeding toward acceptance, at that point we would withdraw without beggars being.
That sounds like a plan. I have
That's
one
works
question.
for me.
Only because I don't. What is the big beach? The one big beach. What is one big beach?
You haven't heard?
Vaguely. So I want to hear
This-
exactly.
I think Finn Murphy is the one that
Finn
named
Murphy,
it that.
exactly.
His idea when he was selected,
Yeah.
one of his big initiatives was that
I remember.
as the town got the chance, every time they would have anybody dealing with the town, or through, in some cases, eminent domain takings, we would have one big beach all the way around the island.
I like the idea.
And most people do, except some waterfront property owners.
Yeah, I don't own waterfront, so I like the occasionally. So anyway, we'll.
But in any event, that's what it's all about. And whereas on these yard sale things, if an abutter is simply picking up a piece of land, the town has it appraised, and he pays usually a
$5,000.
1,000, 5,000,
Right.
somewhere in there for it. But where that owner owns beach, and as you can see from this plan, Shapiro's own lots of beach.
Yeah.
The appeal for the town is the one big beach easement, and therefore there's no monetary payment.
Got it.
Instead, the bid price that they specified in the document would be the granting of one big beach easement. So
All right.
that's
Okay.
that's all.
So
We
we,
need to hear from the audience, right?
oh yeah, I guess we should, the audience. Did anybody in the audience want to speak about this?
Mr. Chairman, Stephen Cohen, I represent the abutters, the Friedmans at 69 Neil Point Road, and I'll save my comments in general for the continued hearing, but I do have one question. The applicant is seeking relief from the regularity standard for future combination of the lots, and I don't believe that the yard sale process that eliminates the setback issues resolves that. So is he withdrawing that relief?
With regard to that, through you, Mr. Chairman, with regard to that, I've discussed that issue with Andrew Morse, and it's his view that the regularity factor is not an issue because of the fact that we're dealing with with a combination of existing lots here rather than the creation of a new lot, and that the factor that creates it is related to the town's acquisition by eminent domain, as to which there's an exception from the creation of, in other words, taken by the town, you can't see any new zoning non-conformity. In any event, I don't believe that's going to be an issue. I'm not asking that anything be withdrawn at this point. I'm discussing the whole case, and we'll discuss it if and when we need to. Turn out we will.
So you can fight that fight some other time.
Yeah, I'm not. My clients aren't necessarily in opposition to this, but if it proceeds, they'd have some conditions to suggest. But we can wait till next month.
Okay, thank you. So anybody else? No. So who wants to make a motion?
I move to continue this until October 9th.
FYI, I'm not here October 9th, but when Jeffrey can't sit and Lisa can't sit, so Michael can.
Yeah, somehow I have a feeling that
I'm just letting you know.
yeah.
I'm not asking for your permission. To be clear.
I could continue to November, although I think that's going to be a,
No.
I'm certainly hoping we're not dealing with that as an issue. I think it's very unlikely that I won't have progress with the town. So
All right. So the motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Who seconded it?
I did.
Kieran.
Oh, Kieran. I started to, yeah.
Okay, moving on. 47, is this the board? Jeffrey, you want to do anything today?
Enjoying myself, just listening
Yes.
to you.
Go back to Cliff Road.
That's what I was going to do.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's you said 40.
Sounds like the new chairman.
Yeah, I think that was a bid.
Yes.
I think that was a bid right there.
Ah, very nice.
Holy smokes. I hope you all saw that.
It's a coup.
4714, Richard B. Urban and Jocelyn S. Urban, 51 Cliff Road, for the applicant. Just identify yourself for the tape, please. I have to find you. Go ahead. We're listening.
Our client proposed to raise the roof and add dormers on an existing 222 square foot garage. It currently doesn't conform to the rear setback, and it's on a lot which is 3.1% over the allowable ground cover. She proposes to use this garage as a painting studio with no plans for plumbing or future plumbing. In addition, we have HDC approval for an attached 15 square foot storage shed on the east side of the garage. This would comply with the rear setback, but it would raise the ground cover ratio by 0.4% from 33.1 to 33.5%.
Okay. So, anybody have any questions at this point?
How high is this going up?
14 feet, 11 and 3/4 inches.
How high is that over what is existing?
Well, I have 15 feet 3 and 1/4 inches. On-
The original building was 11 feet, 10 feet 7.
Why, yeah. Why the dorm, there's no second floor, correct?
There's a partial loft,
There's a
and
loft area.
there's some light coming from above into the first floor.
So the floor plans don't, oh, I see the partial loft. How do you get up to the partial loft?
You're hoisted up, walking.
Is she painting upstairs? This is a painting studio, correct?
Yes. And the stone is up. But the 5-foot setback line is
So
really
it's
just
the
the
corner?
corner of the building.
That would have, yeah. So I thought, again, that, Eleanor, that these dormers, for instance, why wouldn't this be administrative relief?
There is the shed that's being added.
Oh, God, you said that.
You're increasing the amount of form.
Yes.
And there's no comments from your neighbors?
It's de minimis.
Yeah, I mean, the shed should be,
Very minor.
still, I mean, we don't normally give any increase in ground cover. I don't think we typically do that, but just because today they're storing bikes and tomorrow they're storing humans in it.
It's only 3 by 5.
I'm just saying. All of a sudden it's this, and then I'd like a little more. I don't know. I thought we didn't typically give additional ground cover.
Well, I mean, if they did a detached shed, and just kept it away from the building 2 inches, it doesn't count as ground.
That's right. That's what I just looked at the plan, you could probably put a
But
shed.
then it doesn't fit
Then-
this sideline setback. It would have to be elsewhere.
Well, it'd be slightly different configuration perhaps, but it would be before us for,
They could literally be 1 inch apart,
right,
which is idiotic.
they're not attached.
So we could at least get them to give up their shed if they want this. You can't have everything. I think that's fair.
I agree.
What do you think?
So without the shed, just the raised roof and add dormers?
No.
No, we were going to give you the shed, but you gave it up so easily that.
That was a question.
With, our zoning allows for a 121 square foot detached
I still
shed,
wouldn't
did not count, did not count as ground cover.
Ground cover?
Which you could put
No,
here.
why should we, but they have an option. That's all I'm saying.
But if you would give you
It's
this,
little
it'll
thing
say
right here.
no
This
detached
thing
shed.
right here.
Right, so if they detach it from the building and out of their setbacks, they don't need any relief from the side.
For anything.
Because the other one's administrative, the dormer,
Right,
raising
right.
the roof, and the other
I think
thing's
the store likes
administrative.
something that's 3 by 5.
Yeah, why wouldn't you, it seems crazy to me, but to have to come here just because you attached the shed. If you hadn't attached the shed, as Mark said, it would be administrative relief. But, just saying. What do we think, besides the,
I say no shed,
so no increase in ground cover?
no increase in ground cover.
That's fair. What about, how do we feel about going up in the dormers and the, obviously not for human habitation?
I'm shocked that the neighbor isn't complaining. The one at Eric and Kathleen Grant.
They're probably elsewhere and they haven't gotten their mail yet.
Well, I think without the shed, didn't we say it was administrative and there is no?
Well, administrative relief, again, is not a rubber stamp.
No, but I
Should-
mean,
They have to
the only
ask.
reason they're before the full board was because of the shed, right?
At this point, we'll issue a special permit now for requesting.
Right, I think they're here, so we might as well,
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking for like future.
Or they could withdraw and get rid of the shed and knowing they're not going to get it and go to administrative relief.
Wait a second, this would be all administrative relief if it weren't for this 3 by 5 shed?
Right, which is what we were talking about before with that other application.
Well, there was something,
Everybody still gets noticed. There's still an abutter notification that goes on with it. It's just dealt with administratively. You still pay a fee and you go through the recording process. There's still an appeal period. So,
I thought the administrative relief
I
is
mean,
just...
they're here now, so we should grant them.
no, it's not, you come in, you give your thing, and you get it automatically.
No.
I mean,
It's a whole process. Oh, yeah.
decision, it is filed with town clerk, 30-day appeal period, and then it needs to be recorded with the registry of deeds, at which point you can go to the building department.
Speeds up the process maybe for about a month.
Well, and/or we don't see
Right.
everything
Exactly
that
right.
we normally rubber stamp.
Right.
I mean, that's the difference, Mike. And frankly, in this particular case, for instance, the dormer might very well be outside of the 5 feet, so it's the outside wall that would be getting a little taller, maybe?
The dormer is set back a foot, so this,
Right.
you have the
Yeah.
corner where it's 4 feet away, the dormer's outside of that.
Right.
Probably. I'm sure it was designed that way. Okay? So anyway, there's anybody in the audience? No? Yeah. Okay. What do we think?
I move to grant the relief as requested, except not to grant the 3x5 attached shed.
So no increase in ground cover, period. So if they make a boo-boo when they're doing it and the building grows a little swells, don't come back. Right?
We're looking at one over here, and the other one is going to be, some 1/10 of an inch or something.
Anyway, I gotta say that as the chairman. What am I supposed to say? Yeah, don't even bother paying any attention to it. Anyway, moving on. Not for human habitation.
Not for human habitation, no. human
There's no
beings
bathroom in
living
here,
There's no
correct?
bathroom in there. There's not going to be any water in there, correct?
Yeah, she said no plumbing, no
No
food.
plumbing.
No grandkids.
Well, I think a painting studio should have a sink.
Place for the grandkids.
No. She might want to say,
But you didn't apply for it. Your
no.
the representative
waste-
said there was
waste
no.
plumbing.
No waste.
Well, the sink has waste plumbing.
Sink, but
So
no,
maybe we just
no
say
water closet.
No water.
No water closet. I
Sink
think
is okay.
the sink should be fine in a
Okay.
painting studio.
I won't go there. But-
I move to grant the relief as requested and allow for a sink, but no water closet or shower in the structure, that it not be for human habitation, and that the request for and that there be no increase in ground cover, meaning no shed at the back.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? No? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Too close, you can put a fence in. It's not a structure.
Hey, who's going to keep
Take the outdoor shower enclosure, wrap it
What's
around.
it?
It's open.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak there. All right, what do we got coming up now? Where are we? I'm lost. Okay, I'm back. Wow,
Jeffrey.
we gave you the same. Okay, 4914, James C. Herbert and Kathleen H. Herbert, 58 Pleasant Street, for the applicant.
Joseph Gay for the
Oh,
applicants, Mr. Chairman. My clients, James and Kathleen Herbert, own the property at 58 Pleasant, the zoning district ROH. They're asking for special permit relief or the alternative variance relief for the alteration extension of a deck on the front dwelling. Apparently back in 1995, the predecessor and title interest to the property had pulled a building permit seeking to alter and extend an existing deck which was sited 9 feet from the side boundary. The side setback requirement is 5 feet. After construction of the deck, unfortunately, at its closest point, the deck is 4 feet 6 inches from the side boundary, and therefore it in violation of the 5-foot side setback. The applicant is asking, rather than suffer the hardship of having to tear down 6 inches of this existing deck, is asking for a special permit relief for the deck as it presently is sited within the setback by 6 inches. There is also a propane tank, which is a separate matter. Unfortunately, I determined that the propane tank is a 150-gallon tank, and under your structure definition, above-ground propane tanks are not considered structures if they don't exceed 120 gallons. That propane tank is adjacent to the decking area there and is approximately 2 feet from the side boundary. I don't know how you do calculations, but it's curious that it's not considered a structure. You're allowed up to 2 propane tanks, 120 gallons each, arguably 240 gallons total. But since this propane tank is one tank, 150 gallons, it may be determined and found by this board to be considered a structure, and therefore asking for relief for where it presently is sited.
We're not going to argue that the bylaw is perfect, but, okay. It's pretty clear. I think it's not, at least according to this plan, it's not 6 inches off. It's 4.6 feet, so it's really 0.4 feet, which would be closer to 4.8 inches, correct? So it's 5 inches.
That's true.
Just to be clear. The propane tank is another issue. There is a letter, which I'm sure you all read, from the immediate abutter. She's not happy about the tank. And the tank probably should meet the code. Whether or not you could go back and put 2 120s there?
Essentially, I don't know if the abutter would be more pleased with that. If I put 2 120s and replace that tank, I don't have to come in for relief for that.
No, you don't. But we don't have to give you relief for something that shouldn't be there either.
Right.
So
That's true.
what you do within the letter of the law is your business, in my opinion. So
Wouldn't be very neighborly.
no.
If the board finds that, I know there's an existing board fence separating. I believe that's the neighbor that
Yeah, it is.
And so it's not really that noticeable. But either way, if that's how the board feels.
It's not so much you either, but the next guy and the next guy and the next guy. And again, but I'm only one vote, so.
So, just to clarify, was it the previous owner that thought they were going to build 9 feet from the property line?
Yes, the building permit's an old 95 building.
And they just decided to keep going with the deck?
Well, sorry, there was an existing deck.
There was 9 feet.
From
off.
a previous plan shows an existing deck that was 9 feet from the boundary. And the application, the building permit application, of which I have a copy, the homeowner submitted the application. He specifically said it would be 5 feet from the boundary and no relief would be required, special permit or variance relief. And he constructed the deck, and I would just assume inadvertently, he constructed it, and it was not 5 feet outside from the side boundary.
Isn't there something, if it was built with a valid building permit, it was sitting there for 10 years, that
I don't think it's, you can't, but the valid building permit said 5 feet. I don't think you can just get issued a permit, do whatever you want, and say it's been here for 10 years.
And it has not been signed off.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
that there's like, this property changed hands, there was an open permit. I don't know why this wasn't addressed. That was
who owns the
never
property?
sale.
Does Herbert
Yeah.
own the property?
Herbert owned the property now. They purchased the property in '06. To the extent I'm going to protect myself, I didn't represent the Herberts when they purchased the property, but
So can we see a copy of the building permit application?
I have the markings with
What year was the permit
95.
application? 95.
95.
And that's never been signed off? 20 years.
Who got the tank? The tank was there when you guys?
That's a little more problematic. I believe it was with Yates, and then my clients apparently transferred over to Nantucket Energy. So the tank was replaced. I don't know, it appears that it's been there.
I'm also thinking there are certain codes that
Right.
I'm not sure you can put a 150-gallon tank right up to your lot line like this, or 2 feet. I thought there had to be
Well, I have
some
my
separation.
reservation of going back to the client and saying they have to replace that existing tank with 2 not to exceed 120.
Well, I'm saying I would check with the gas company.
They placed it there, though.
Yeah, well,
But still, it seems like it's really.
I'm not saying they didn't place it there. I'm just, I know that as the tank gets bigger,
The distance
it
off
needs
the
to
property
be
line.
away. I'm guessing the argument is if it blows up, it doesn't blow up your neighbor.
Certainly, my client would be subject to whatever that requirement
Yeah.
is on that replacement.
But what I guess I'm saying is I think in our decision, if we were to see our way toward this, we're not blessing any tank in that area if it doesn't meet every other applicable code.
No, that's understandable.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I think you gotta do something with the tank, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think it's too
Who applied for this?
It just seems like if you're buying a house, you're going to have a pretty extensive search in place where you're going to look over and see open building permits.
Yeah, I mean, it seems, if you had any financing, you'd have to, you can't just have open
Most definitely.
permits.
So what do you suggest?
Was it a foreclosure? Did they buy it in
Just-
cash? What's
Just
going
saying
on?
it's odd that when they bought it, there's like this open permit
Yeah,
with the
I
zoning
agree.
issue, and like that just sort of, oops.
So what you're suggesting is maybe this owner shot themselves in the foot, or
Well, it definitely should have been figured out when they purchased the property.
maybe this deck was never built, and then they decided to
No,
build
maybe
it.
they thought, well, we don't care, we don't want to deal with it now, we'll buy it anyway.
Right.
And, we'll deal with it later, and this is the way they're dealing with it.
But
Is trying to get
but
relief.
you're buying the problems then, so you know perfectly well
Yeah,
what
that's
you're
what I'm
getting.
saying, they knew what they
Right,
were up
right.
against.
Yeah, I can't imagine that this didn't come up when they purchased the property.
This is not a simple rounded this deck. I have photos of it.
Let's see the
No,
photos.
but I mean, just that when you go to
It's-
this, you pull a permit, if there's an open
See the
unsigned
photos, please.
permit, I mean, the purchaser is aware that there's an open permit, whatever the solution is, it's,
It seems like the homeowner maybe bought it, built it himself,
The homeowner did.
the
previous
original,
homeowner
physically built it himself.
physically built it.
Yeah.
And it's just,
I remember this now.
You remember this?
there's a lot of
Oh.
I took a look at it.
extensive vegetation and fencing.
Oh, you
What's
took a
that?
look to
So this
purchase
fence
it.
Yeah.
is between the abutting neighbor that's written the letter?
Yes,
Yeah.
the fence and the vegetation. As I say, you really can't even see the house.
Huh, interesting.
She didn't have an issue with the deck, only the gas tank.
I'm wondering if it's from a surveyor's standpoint, if it's this bench seat.
No, because the back,
Is it straight?
it's angled and then it goes, I bet it's straight on the back side, don't you think?
Who knows? I don't know.
Well,
Anyway, I
this
mean,
one shows sort of a fence.
That's off the
Could
deck.
you just cut it with a sawzall and move it in one board?
on some of your jobs, yeah.
That's the challenge.
The all test jobs.
These are basically the same. Oh, no, it's straight back. I mean,
Yeah, I think
again,
it's straight back.
we can parse the 4.8 inches, but
Didn't we allow somebody to get closer? And I'm trying to remember.
we certainly have granted this type of relief in the past. It's the deck, not living space, but
Well, and we can certainly make contingent upon this never becoming living space and
Absolutely.
no other additions becoming, you can't come back for a special permit asking for an addition onto the house going to 4.6.
That's understandable.
So there's some, I think it's a landscape guide, he had some deck connecting two buildings or
There was a
something.
deck that was in Burton Valley, setting a deck and setback over on Meadowview Drive
Right.
6 months ago.
Is that when Ed wanted HGC approval for it? And it wouldn't let him.
Well,
Is
they-
HGC
this-
approved?
Yes, there's a.
the guy was it was a chicken and egg thing, and he was here prematurely, but my brethren did not support me.
They have HDC approval for the deck the size it is.
Yeah. There's an HTC certificate of
Well, the size
size of
minus
5.
5 inches.
Right, the size,
Did
not.
you ever see that?
Yeah,
Not
no,
the-
but
not-
not the way it shows up in this building department application, which is much smaller.
Right, for the 5 feet.
Yeah.
not
So what
the-
you're saying, what they actually got a permit for was a hell of a lot smaller than this. Yeah, so this is much bigger than that. Yeah,
It wraps the corner now, and before it was.
it was
like
just
that.
just this part?
Oh, wait a minute.
So the plot
HDC
thickens?
did not approve what they did.
Hold on a second.
Can we see,
Let
can I
me
see
see
that?
that again. So let's see. Isn't this now all the way along that
Yeah.
side?
Yeah, but that was connected. That was the new part. Oh, that was a concrete pad before, now it's deck.
Yeah, I don't know, this was attached here.
Right here, yeah. Mhm.
That was filed with that company.
So that's the one that stops.
Here's the pipe.
It's hard to tell, it was 1995.
That's this from the neck. It's the, right?
Right.
That's the 5 feet to the side yard property line, that's the backyard.
Is that, do we have
So
the
that is not
HDC?
even approved.
Well, I don't know, I'm asking.
So, because we don't have, do we have pictures of what the HDC approved?
No.
No.
I mean,
The
not
HTC
finished, it was in the back of the building.
They approved 19 by 8.7.
That was in the building department file, the HTC stuff is in storage, so I couldn't get actual.
Oh, they approved 19 by 8.7.
Well, this is what the certificate of appropriateness says.
That's one or the other, it's not
This is
both.
the 95 deck, 19 by 8.7. And it just says,
It's probably this one.
Deck 375 is 19, 20 by 8.7.
They're both bigger than that. But having said all that, you
The thing
know,
wasn't approved.
it's what?
It appears as though the part of the deck that encroaches was not even.
Well, I think it probably wasn't in 1995, and they just built it.
You would have thought they wouldn't have gone to the building department. I mean, the building department would have required them to have HTC approval.
Joe, do you have that or not? The HTC approval?
I have that certificate of appropriateness that was issued relating to this.
Is it the same one that's in the building?
Yes. The 19.
Oh, it's in here?
Well, no, it's, Eleanor sent it to us, but there's
it's
no.
27549, right?
Oh, there's
Do
no
you have that?
drawings.
Did
That,
they make
that's,
mention of it here?
Here, look at
There would be a date here. Or on the card, it usually says.
well, we don't have the back of the card. And the date is here. This was, oh, yeah, and then they get a new one. Because it was duplicated. Trying to clear up the Russians. Anyway, how are we feeling about this?
that. When did they purchase this property? 2006?
I think it was 06.
And why are they just coming before us now?
It's for sale. They
Oh, it
probably
is
have a
for
buyer,
sale.
would be my guess.
So they have a buyer who's wanting the permits closed out.
That.
Yeah,
It's,
okay.
it's not a hard,
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I don't know if they have a buyer, but I'm
Right.
saying it is for sale, definitely. So somebody's probably advised them that they should take care of
Clean up.
business beforehand. So, we, by, are we concerned that they may not have HTC approval for this first floor deck with a seat?
I am.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
well then, fine, then let's move on, so we don't have to beat the horse
So can you
anymore.
get this stuff out of storage from the HTC, or?
So should
somebody
we make
needs
a
to
motion to
find-
continue until October?
Yeah.
In which case, there will be more evidence that this is either HTC approved or not?
And in the meantime, you should probably move the tank, because that's not supposed to be there anyway, right?
Yeah. The tank's not going to get approved
Yeah.
by us. Just wanted to be clear. Okay, so was that a motion?
Yes.
By Lisa.
No, I thought they made the motion.
Well, I made it, but I want you
Okay, I will make that motion.
to continue till October 9th.
Second.
And we've given guidance on what we want to look at. Okay, motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Okay, I don't know. I don't quite understand what just happened. Okay.
You're just trying to get out of being chairman right now. We see through
I
your.
like being chairman, it's all I have, Sue. Jeffrey, you want to sit?
Can I sit out one?
Sure.
Great.
Jamie's been here since 12:30.
He's not doing anything.
He's starting.
He's probably
Mark?
hot up there too, he needs to.
Yeah, it's probably 20 degrees warmer where you are.
Not very warm where I'm sitting.
Sitting in the sun, too.
All right, I have to actually use the men's room, so we can wait, or Mark can take over. It's up to you.
And
I'll
Lisa
be
can
back.
practice.
Mark's
I would be right on
Karen was
myself
gonna
if I were-
practice.
Negative.
All right, I'll be back.
Mark, are we gonna move on?
I'll be
or-
right back.
Okay. Be quick. Run like the wind.
How you doing, Karen? Yeah? It's not much warmer down here.
I was gonna say, you want a blanket for your legs? It's gotta be because of the gym downstairs. I'm sure it's on the same zone, and they're pumping that thing nice and frosty. It's the only thing that can explain why this thing's always freezing.
When was, I didn't hear the music.
Are you serious?
Yeah. When was it? Today?
Really?
Up until about
It's like
10
every
minutes ago.
time we're here, whoever's working out downstairs is like blasting.
Sound like a
This
club.
is the base.
Oh, really?
That's their gym.
I know, but you would think like if there's meetings up here, they could turn it down.
They probably don't want to hear us. They can have headphones still.
You think they can hear us?
No.
I'm sure it's televised right down in there, and they're watching us.
Yeah. Sports Center on one side. Senior Day on the other.
Great, so is that 6 people? What's she say?
Lost Eleanor. It's cold in here because it was warm in here. I almost didn't come out. It's so warm. Well, we lost more than just Eleanor.
See what happened?
Jesus Christ, I'm losing it. I'm losing control of it. I'm not fit. I'm gonna come in with Marv. Better wait for Eleanor. I think we'll be, turn your mics off for a second. This is a general rule, I think that, staff, there's some question about the ACC, role, some of these things that have been, we should have that.
She worked for Citizen Storage. I think that you're trying to get out of the storage.
Well, I think it's on the applicant, not Eleanor. He said, Eleanor should tell the applicant who he is, and don't bother telling him. Well, so if they had to wait till November or October, then so be it. No, I agree, but I'm not saying that would be any problem to me personally, but if that's something we routinely want, in a case like this, I think it is reasonable that we don't bless something that wasn't approved by other boards. I think we should, that's really what it's doing. We won't go over the specifics, but I'm just saying, Eleanor, next time, if these types of things, and I'm not blaming you at all, it's on the applicant to get us things like HTC approvals, and, you know, that building permit application is going to be part of his presentation to us, et cetera, because we can't.
Well, that's why I mentioned it in the staff report. You know, I had the copy, I could have included it in the packet, I'm sorry I didn't, but I mentioned it in the staff report.
But not the HTC.
I did, it's in the staff report, the
Well, but
HTC.
that was just simply the,
What's approved of the prior certificate of approval that went with that building permit, that 1995 building permit.
federal, do we have a plan showing what was approved?
No, I could not find, I had the, as I mentioned, in the staff report, the 1995 plan before, which they filed before they built the deck, the
Right.
altered, expanded deck. And then the next plan available was in 2006, because they went to do something else, which they ultimately didn't do. Or they did end up moving a shed to make it compliant, I believe. But at any rate, then they filed another as-built showing the deck to be, you know, whatever I cite there. 4.6.
But that's also that the applicant should, like, you shouldn't have to run around and get all that stuff.
Well, I'm the next title examiner, so I do that by nature, but
I know,
you're correct.
but you should tell
I think
him,
you need
or
to
whoever,
direct
that
the
we're gonna
applicant.
require it.
You need to get all of this information. Don't come to the board with half the information expecting the board to round up.
Well,
Exactly.
in his defense, his addendum does speak about the permit, and that really the reason they came.
People speak about things, and it's not that I don't believe them. I just like to see evidence of it.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Okay, Okay, let's rock and roll. It won't, you know, mic's on, yeah, I won't editorialize. 5014, Janet Steinmeier as trustee of Northorne Family Trust, 114 Main Street, Perkins, okay. I don't think I have I know I don't have a conflict, so go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Eric Lartz, and I work for Twig Perkins the Builders, representing Janet Steinmeier. We'd like to take the garage that's there, change the use to a residence. There's also a shed on the property that is in the setback on the edge of the lot line. We'd like to move that shed to the back of the garage, thereby getting it out of the setback, and that would be used as storage, but attached to the garage.
Okay, questions?
So the garage, will there be changes to the, right now, we're not approving any changes to the garage in the setback?
Right, the garage is in the setback, and that's...
And it's going to remain the same height, it's just a change?
Right, same height, change of use.
The dwelling, the main house, already has 2 kitchens in it. So we only allow 2 kitchens on a lot. How could you get a 3rd kitchen on this lot?
It's definitely true.
2 kitchens or 2 dwellings?
Kitchens
There
in that
There are
building.
2 kitchens in the...
I've heard you. Let me just see, I don't know if I don't
That'd be a
know
third
as I have the, I don't have the
Two
plans for the
dwellings.
main house, just for the second, just for the
there's
one, but the new
apartments.
house will only have a 1 kitchen.
No. On a lot, you can only have 2 kitchens. The
Right.
main house already has 2 kitchens in it. So you
Right,
cannot be granted a permit for a 3rd kitchen.
right. I'm sorry that I don't have the plans for the main house that is on that property, which will only have 1 kitchen.
The renovated.
The renovated main house will only have...
One dwelling. Because right now, Michael, it's not just that they have 2 kitchens, it's 2 dwellings, it's 2 apartments.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, that's the issue. I think you can have as many kitchens as you want, you just can't have separation.
Yeah, you
So that you
can't-
can rent
right.
them separately. You can have 2 dwelling units.
Correct. It currently has 2, my question is, it already has 2 dwelling units, so you're saying that one of those kitchens is going to be removed, so there'll be 1 dwelling unit in the main house and 1 dwelling unit in the renovated garage.
That's correct.
So that should become part of, definitely.
definitely, that would be part of. I have a question for you. Why, well, the garage is relatively dated, if you will, so you're going to be jacking it up, taking the foundation out, et cetera?
We'll be jacking it up and replacing the sills that are there. It's sitting on rotten sills as it is right now.
So you're keeping the foundation, no excavation work whatsoever?
No, I don't see that happening, no.
Okay. Because if I were going to jack it up, I think I would move it the 3 feet or whatever you needed to do out of the setback, and then you don't ever have to come back to us if you want to do something to that building. But that's just me. 3 feet, 5 feet, I mean, I can't imagine it's a money saver, in other words, but whatever. So, does anybody have a problem with that? So the main dwelling would be, the main building would be one dwelling. The garage becomes a new dwelling,
And the shed.
1.9 feet from the lot line. The shed gets attached, but it's outside of the setbacks.
Put a garage next to them on the neighbor's parcel?
I think so.
It's just a building.
I thought there was an aerial, or at least it's very similar.
Am I missing something? There are no plans of what this is going to look like, is there?
139, as far as the
Only a
plot plan.
plot
Yeah.
plan, there's no.
But there's no architectural
Right.
plan to
Right.
see what it's going to look like?
We assume they're not changing any roof lines, so, they might be making fenestration changes, but.
Well, not on that
That's not-
side, they're not, because you can't
Too
have
far, yeah, right. They
fenestration.
can't have windows.
I mean, you can't even have windows on that side. If you move the building literally 3.1 feet, you're good to go. I don't get it.
Maybe they put their kitchen behind, on it.
I know, but why would you want to be in the setback and have to come to us?
There's nothing from the neighbors?
No.
Everybody knew.
Is there anybody in the audience who wants to talk about this one? No. All right, well, would you prefer to see a plan, Michael? Is that what you're saying?
No, I agree with you. I mean, I just baffled why you wouldn't move that thing outside the setback. Because next time if something goes wrong, you got to come back and see us again. So it's just odd and hard.
Yeah, I agree. I'm in a peculiar spot in that I'm representing the builder, and so I work for him, and I don't
Well, we
know.
typically like to kill the messenger.
So-
They're not submitted reduced format.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
They also submitted with the original zoning administrator application, which is how this first came to my attention. I am not certain if they're up to date.
Garage stays there, okay.
Unless they do. they could
That's
do
the
it
second
with one.
dwelling.
That's the upstairs.
Right.
Where are they going to put it upstairs in this?
So they're going up, you're going up with this?
Are you going up?
No, yes, there already is existing, it's a two-story garage existing.
Yeah, that looks like it is, yeah.
I mean, this is new.
Right, but that's in the setback. One of these is in the setback, that's vertical expansion in the setback, this one. Wait a minute, showing on both sides, but it only shows on one.
Well, this is existing. We gotta go to the next page.
I'm sorry.
I'm just saying.
This is the
There it
vertical
is.
expansion in the setback.
Yeah.
That's
And,
the
and how
So-
would you do that within, the fire
Fire,
code?
well, they can do fire
Right.
rating on them.
Right.
Yeah. So you need different reliefs, it's not just a change of use. Or it's a vertical expansion within the side yard setback.
Yes, but those were submitted with the zoning administrator thing, then they withdrew that. And they did submit architectural plans with the subsequent.
Okay, just as, again, an
This is-
editorial
this is-
aside, this is the same thing, and again, I'm not trying, we, the board, our representative needs to be insistent that you just supply every bit of information that you can, because it's frustrating for us if we don't have it, and luckily, you had it.
I was told there were no structural changes to the garage other than the attaching of the shed, which they were moving.
No, and I'm, again, not blaming you at all. I'm blaming the applicants for not necessarily, not you personally, by the way.
I understand.
for not necessarily showing us their full hand, if you will. And it's frustrating for us because we don't know what the hell we're voting on. Luckily, you had this, and it is in the setback, a vertical expansion, and I don't think you asked for that relief, did they?
They did not ask for a change of use relief.
Right, so technically, you have to withdraw, I guess, and renotice, or continue and renotice, or what do they need to do?
Or eliminate a dormer.
Or eliminate a dormer.
That elevation's not going to change?
Doesn't look like it now. I don't think those garage doors are gonna fit though with your floor level, but that's up to you. Doug.
You know what? There's no plans submitted with this application. I don't recall, I go by it every single day, but I don't look down there to see. Do you know whether the elevation of this is going to change, whether it's going to get any higher?
No, the elevation of this is not going to
It's not going to
change.
get any higher.
That's correct.
Now, having said that, Michael, there is a chicken and an egg thing here. If you don't know that you can change it to a second dwelling, why would you go to the HDC? And so I get it. As an applicant, our town is very frustrating.
Yeah, I agree.
You can't.
But then this shed that's going to get moved and attached to the back of this thing is right on the lot line. You're over that lot line 1 inch, you're going to have to come back here.
No,
and-
Wait,
it's being removed from there and going to where it's left.
Oh, that's getting removed?
Right, that's taken out from where it is on the lot line and being moved within the
Have you
setback.
seen the shed? The shed is so over.
I know.
You can't even see the shed. It's just got ivy and everything. I mean, I'm sure it's totally rotten. Why you're moving it, I don't know. This whole thing is beyond me.
It's getting moved to the back of the.
It's being moved to the back.
But it's
Of the-
outside of the
Okay.
setback.
Yeah.
It is right on the setback.
It's right on the setback.
And you know what's going to happen.
Oh, it's right on the set. I agree with you. You're not getting relief if
You
you
should-
screw it up. So, just straight up. I'm sick of that one.
Why are they even moving it? It costs less money to build it.
Oh, it definitely would cost less money to build it. So I don't understand. I don't understand this application period. I would move the building.
Well, I think the question is what to do about, it's up to them to decide how they want to do it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
No, I agree.
On this plan, it actually shows like they have a little bit of
Right.
room to move. But the question of the dormer, the vertical expansion in this setback.
Yeah, you have to notice the neighbors. Maybe again, I'm sure maybe the neighbors don't care, but maybe they would care more if it was a vertical expansion. So, just from a technical standpoint, I believe you have to. Can we continue this and let them renotice, or just the whole, how does this work?
I think it's best if they withdraw and renotice. They can still get on the October agenda. We resubmit the architectural plans.
Yeah,
So-
but I'm not going to be here. You're not going to be here.
Yeah, it'd be better for you, because we're not going to be here. Two of us aren't, or at least one and a half of us aren't going to be here, and so,
To withdraw and
That's right.
without
The only
prejudice.
other option is to get it approved without the vertical expansion and the side yard setback, and then they can come back under a new application, if you guys don't have any other issues with it, but that's up to you.
right, I mean, technically, all they haven't submitted this plan is what they're
Right.
doing. All they're asking for is, can they make it a second dwelling? And
We can say yes.
the answer would be yes. We're not blessing this plan.
Right.
Maybe this plan
Well,
isn't
we'll
even
say
the
with-
plan.
That's
With- as
the other
part of
point,
it.
that may not be updated.
Right.
Yeah, as part of our approval, there'll be no vertical expansion of any kind on this, well, I guess we should say within the setbacks.
Think
Because
you
they can
have
put
to.
the dorm on the other side with them
Right.
there. And that they remove the kitchen out of the second kitchen out of the main house, and it becomes
Well,
a
this-
single-family dwelling.
Yeah, not that they just remove the kitchen, by removing it. It's one dwelling.
Yeah.
One dwelling unit in the main house, one dwelling here, two total dwelling units.
On the lot.
Where they are,
Mhm.
doesn't really matter to us.
I'm okay with that, and then if they feel like they need to come back because of that vertical expansion, it's a new application.
Yeah, I will say, even with the change of use to a second dwelling, that building's in tough shape, but I find it hard to believe you're going to be able to use that foundation again, and
The jacket around the slab, the plumbing, and
yeah, and
Insulation.
and then you therefore may it's not that we wouldn't necessarily give the relief, but you're closer to the neighbor, there might be some safeguards, there might be some time constraints. I mean, all we're blessing, I guess, right now is
The change of use.
Not how you're doing it, or, am I off?
Right, but I think ultimately we should just stick to the choices we've given them, let them withdraw without prejudice. I mean, what direction are we going to take? We can't just sit there and think about.
Yeah, but I mean, if I were the applicant and all I wanted to know is, can I make this a second dwelling? Well, the question is the board, are we comfortable we have enough information, or do we want to wait till we have a full, more information as to what that second dwelling is?
I'm going to go ahead and say wait.
Okay. Fair
That's
enough.
just one vote, though.
Okay.
I mean, I think and I'm, speaking for somebody else now, but I think that there's some plans going back and forth, some designs that are being considered back and forth. And the most important thing to know, really, is whether or not this garage can have a change of use without essentially moving its location. And that's really what we're trying to find out.
I think from a guidance standpoint, even if you were to continue, I think we could give guidance. I don't have any fundamental problem with it being a second dwelling.
I don't
I think
either.
though, but it might depend on if there's, yeah, I agree. I don't have a fundamental problem, but it's hard to like sort of look at it piecemeal.
Right.
Because depending on what the building becomes, it's, maybe we would have more of an issue if that shed disappeared and became a much bigger thing.
Right, I see your
That's the
point,
hard
but I mean,
part.
again, if they meet all, I mean, again, the simple solution would be move the building.
Move the building 3 feet, and then I don't even have to be here.
Right.
3.1 feet.
So that might,
Yeah, we're gonna tell you you can't go up, we're gonna
You
tell you.
can't work at a
can't
certain
work in the
period of
summertime.
time. I mean, it's
We're not
just-
gonna want any work done on anything in the summertime.
yeah. Personally, I mean, I think the guidance that I'm just throwing it out there, probably withdraw, and then come back later if you want, but you actually pull it out of the envelope, they bypass this board.
I know what I would do, but, it's really up to the applicant. We can't tell you what to do. You don't have to withdraw by any means. You could continue this particular application, and could you continue this one if you wanted to, Eleanor, and then notice a new application?
I'm not sure what the parameters are of reapplication when you're asking for an entirely new relief. If you have an open hearing, you can renotice, keep the same number, not have any filing fee.
No, I'm saying if you wanted to open another can you have two applications for the same property at the same time? I don't know why you would, but.
I haven't been around long enough to give you a good answer to that, no.
Oh.
No, I haven't seen any.
Go ahead, John.
I believe that you can, because there are certain instances where you would want to, where new information can come to light whereby you need to withdraw an application. I don't think you can have two heard simultaneously, meaning that if you had two in front of you, or two in front of the board, one would have to be withdrawn before the other was.
Right.
He
So
could
you
continue withdraw in October as old business and then open a new
Got you.
application.
Same day kind of thing.
So you're sort of suggesting that they continue this, and then they can talk, and if they want to withdraw it and make a new application, they can still do that and make next month's meeting.
Right, and we know the change of use is something we were leaning towards approving, it's just a matter of the architectural result.
Yeah.
These guys could bring in,
Somebody,
they have to.
Susan's been paying
What?
attention. The rest of my kids.
I were to say that if it's continued, Ed and I probably won't be here depending on what it does. You guys would mark it, you would have to read it.
Okay, so, again, we're not telling you what to do. But would you like to continue?
I mean, I guess. I mean,
Fair answer.
I guess I'm not going to walk away from here today with any answer. I mean, if we took the dormer out of the situation,
Well, you haven't asked for the dormer, so we wouldn't give you permission for the dormer.
right.
I think typically I think what the board has said is we're more comfortable having the whole picture. What's been approved, again,
What actually is being proposed?
what actually is being done there. I think that we have given some guidance that the whole notion of a second dwelling there is not problematic.
Okay.
But I think,
But you're not in any position to approve anything without a full grasp of what's going on?
we prefer a full grasp,
We like to have agency approval.
or a
of the
fuller
changes.
grasp.
Sure.
Because if
Understood.
you're going up, we have to approve that. If you're putting a dormer on, we have to
In
approve
that
a
setback,
vertical.
yes.
In the setback, we have to approve that. So if you don't, you say, we're not going to have a dormer, and all of a sudden you get a dormer, you're going to get a building permit, you got to come back to us again.
Understood.
Anyway, so it sort of behooves you to get, approval of what you're doing, what you want to do, and then come back. Although it is a chicken and egg thing, but I think we've told you pretty clearly that the second dwelling issue, I don't think is a major hurdle. Again, I would do it so I didn't have to come here. I mean,
I hear you.
I
don't wanna be here.
I mean, feel free, but, anyway. So, would you like to continue?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, so will somebody make a motion to continue to October 9th, please?
I'll make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Nobody in the audience. Did I already ask? Yeah. Okay. All right, motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? No. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
We have one left. No, two.
Two.
Okay. Are you leaving?
No, I'm just.
Not sticking around for the vote. Why don't you leave now? We can vote for a new chair.
Where did Eleanor go? I'd like
After that.
to get out of here before 7. I'm disgusted with myself as a
We're
chairman.
disgusted with you, too.
That's why I'm out. Doing the worst job I can today.
It's so entertaining, though.
Okay, anyway, we gotta wait for Eleanor, so we'll take a break.
Chicken snacks.
No snacks. Yeah, we use
How did you? You did it then? I didn't hear back, of course.
Eleanor is back, so we're ready to go. 5114 Robert Reiskin, 34 Codfish Park Road, for the applicant.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. John Brescher for the applicant, Robert Reiskin. Our office is representing Robert Reiskin. He is the owner of 34 Codfish Park Road in Wisconsin. Before you today, he is requesting special permit relief pursuant to bylaw sections 139, 33, A4, and 5, and to the extent necessary, section 139, 32 for variance if necessary. The lot is undersized to begin with, having shade under 5,000 square feet. I believe it's 4,980 in a zone district that requires 5,000 square foot minimum lot size. And there are two non-conforming structures on the locus. First of which is a primary dwelling. It's a two-story single-family dwelling. Has a ground cover of 1,139 and is non-conforming with respect to side yard, northerly side yard setback. It's 3.5 feet on the northern side lot line and SR1 at East Street 5. The proposal is to renovate the structure in such a way as to increase the ground cover ratio to 29.8%. 30% is allowed by right in undersized lots pursuant to 139, 33E2. The ultimate ground cover is going to be 1,486 square feet. All the alterations will be in the northerly side yard setback. They will be no closer than 3.5 feet to the lot line. and the rest will be in the rear of the lot and the southerly side yard setback, or southerly side as well. It will, however, with these alterations, be as close to 7.4 feet to the rear yard lot line. And the rear lot line is a way, and pursuant to section 139, 16, I believe it's C3, in SR1, basically the lot line, the setback abutting away, whether it's constructed or not, needs to be 10 feet. So in this case, it would be 7.4 feet. And district requires a 10-foot setback. All told, the amount of square footage in this rear yard setback, and actually in the side yard setback, comes to a total of 41 square feet. The shed is also non-conforming with respect to setbacks. It is sited approximately 0.2 feet from the front yard lot line and 1.6 feet from the northerly lot line. The shed is going to be, well, the shed is sited in the setbacks on for the front yard, it's supposed to be a 10-foot setback, and for the side, again, it's a 5-foot setback. And the shed is going to be renovated and relocated and reduced in size to approximately 120 square feet, and will be resited in the southwesterly corner of the lot line. It will be approximately 5.5 feet from the rear yard setback, rear yard lot line, excuse me, and 2 feet from the side yard lot line. In terms of intensity, it will be less non-conforming than its previous location. It's our belief that the renovations and alterations will be substantially less detrimental to the neighborhood, as the severity of these setback intrusions of what presently exists will be lessened by the renovations and the relocation. Because it will not be close to the lot lines of the present structure. Ultimately, the square footage in the setback will be reduced as well. Currently, approximately 120 square feet of structure is in the setback, and as a result of the renovations and alterations, 107 square feet will be in the setbacks, and again, it will be further from the lot lines. We have Conservation Commission approval for the work that's been done. We are in the process of getting HTC approval. I believe they met on Tuesday, and I think it was a fairly productive meeting, but no approval as of yet. I know that there is an abutter who is concerned regarding parking. There has not been any parking proposed on the site. However, after hearing that the abutter was concerned, my client is planning on installing one parking space in the rear of the lot. In SR1, only one space is required regardless of the size of the house or the number of bedrooms. Also, Paul Santos is here, and he will be helping out if you have any questions. If you need a site plan that might be a little clearer, that has colors showing the existing, proposed, let me know.
Is it the same one as this one?
Is it red and black?
Not quite. I mean, that
Yeah,
one
let's see it.
that's the same, but it's the
This is a pick up and relocate, is that right?
for the shed.
No, the house.
I don't believe that.
Yes, the house is being shifted on a lot to give some better margins on the setback.
If you have any questions, please.
What are these walkways, John? Oh, it's a leach? What, like?
Those are
That's a
walkways.
walkway.
On
That's
that
a
plan,
walkway, that's a
those are
walkway.
walkways, yes.
Is this way traveled?
Yeah, I'm surprised by
That dirt road?
It
What do
is.
I know?
It's definitely a way.
Yes, it's, another butter was commenting earlier that she believed it to be a public way, not just a large.
Mark, I have a question for Mark. Assume you're part of this one, Mark. The shed can go on the leach field?
Pardon me?
The shed can be placed over the leach
Yeah,
field?
More of an answer for Paul.
Paul?
Yes, there's no foundation on it, it's on pier. It's just on pier.
Okay.
And the house is going to remain with a crawl space, or are they?
Yes.
Okay.
Although we have enough elevation
we have no intention of putting a basement in.
What is considered the back, the way, or,
The back is the way.
so that's where the parking space is?
Yeah. Yes.
The propane tank will be moved?
Well, we can make it smaller.
Paul, maybe you know this answer. What size tank can be right up to the lot line?
Within the setback.
Within the set, well,
Well, the setback is 2 120s. Yes, but I think when you get I think it's 250 or over, you can't be within a certain distance of the property line, you can't be abutting the building. So this one's a big one, that's one of those big ones. You know, I think it's the 250, this is a 250 gallon, I think this one here. Those are ones that can't be within 10 feet of the property line and or you can't be up against the building.
but you can have two 120s right up to your property line and right up to your, in the setback. Makes a lot of sense. Jesus Christ, you can't make this stuff up. Anyway, all right, well, obviously, we wouldn't be blessing the 250-gallon tank there, but,
The newly relocated, the new shed,
Yes.
that's, can that go anywhere else? Can it get outside the setback?
yeah, why does it need to be in the
Why does it have to
setback? I
be
don't get
there?
that. Why?
I just, you know,
Go right there. And
Well, I mean, there's a lot of additions going into the setback.
right, there's a lot, they're really, you know what, this
Setback.
is,
That's what I'm just questioning, why,
Yeah, the net you seem to be gaining when you gave us those figures.
13 square feet.
And a lot of it has to do with the shed
this is,
moving out.
this
Why do I
plan,
have three different, are
the
these all the
one,
same?
the shaded part is the part that is, that's inside the setback?
Yes.
That's a good point. Why wouldn't you just rotate this slightly? Why would you even do this, period?
To get into the, yeah.
Why wouldn't, I don't understand.
Well, I don't understand the question.
Well, why would the house itself is very slightly into the setback now, currently.
The shed is the only thing that's encroaching.
The shed is largely in the setback. But now you're picking up, rotating,
So more of
shifting.
the house is out of the setback,
But you're
onto the buildable part of the lot, as close as we can to the variance line set by the Board of Health for the septic system that's in the ground. So we're making the setback intrusion on the northerly side less intensive in terms of shifting and rotating the building slightly, to become parallel to that line, and putting us up against our no-build line on the southerly side, where the variance of the setbacks, the septic system comes into play. So we're between a rock and a hard place here in between a way with the 10-foot setback, the current zoning constraints in terms of setbacks, the septic system in the ground, and the Concom jurisdictional elements imposed on the lot. It's really very little.
The additions, there are additions that are being made that take it over the setback. These additions here are taking it over the setback.
This is not intensifying the setback.
Well, it's intensifying this setback.
It's
Yeah.
intensive.
This is what we're asking for. That's the 10-foot setback from the way. We're asking for relief from that to go to 5 feet, which we grant all the time.
Well, when you're sitting on that side, it's probably
Right.
better for you not to say wait.
Exactly.
No offense. Well, we had a problem with the last application where we didn't really know completely what was going on. So, do we want to wait to get, at least to see the HCC plans? Or,
Do you have any plans, or are you just looking for the footprint?
I mean, again, it's hard.
We just started the review process with the HDC. finally got this Tuesday night, after 3 meetings. So we're just getting into the throes of getting their responses for our project. So we were looking to bless a footprint. We felt,
Is this a single story footprint, the additional footprints?
the main frame of the building currently is a 2-story form. The additions being planned are taking the roofs up higher. To form more space on the second.
Well, again, I mean, just from a consistency standpoint, we just basically told the last applicant to leave the building and come back with plan, show us the whole scope of the project. So we either have to call them, I have to call them up and apologize, or we have to be relatively
Yeah,
consistent.
I think we have to be consistent, especially in such a tight area down here on undersized lots and everything's packed in.
I think typically we would like to see what's going on, up, down, here, there.
I think the intention was to get more progress in the HTC.
Right. Because the HTC might not even give you some of these intrusions.
Exactly right.
So,
Even though we're making things better, that's always the case in terms of I think we'll get our footprint that we want. The question is, will we get everything that we want from storage? That's what's on the table. So I don't see any impact personally. I mean, John's the one representing this, continuing this for another month.
Okay.
While we work through the HTC process.
I'd like to know if you have any guidance for us.
Well,
I feel.
I do.
Go ahead.
I feel that, I mean, I can live with the footprint the way it is, I think, assuming that HTC comes back. I think we can deal with that. I'm not sure how comfortable I am with that shed. It seems to be plenty of space on that lot to get that shed.
Yeah, reconfigure it somehow and get it over where it says Lot 1 and area.
Well, although if you're going to give the 5-yard, relief to the 5-yard setback on the way, the only thing then you would have to do is move it 3 feet to the north, is that correct? Yeah, so. But I agree, I don't think we should give relief on the side yard setback. And, we should see how we feel about the relief on if the relief is always granted on the way to go to a 5-foot setback, which I believe it is, then.
It's not always granted,
Well, I'm not
despite
so
Mark's
sure.
representation that it's always. We don't, that's.
I would feel more comfortable if that shed were to fall within that, within
Yeah,
that setback line, I really would.
All right, we don't, yeah.
So that's some guidance right there.
Wait a minute, the shed, am I reading this incorrectly? The distance on the way, no, now I'm looking at the setback from the way. Is it 10 feet or 5 feet? You're asking for 7.4 over here, but that's 10 feet, is that correct?
Yeah, but
We're asking for a 5-foot,
Reduce it down to 5.
reduce it the way down to 5 feet.
which you can do by special permit
Oh,
in this zone.
because of the shed.
And the
No,
building,
because of one of the additions.
Well, the
Coming off
buildings are
back.
759 and
Get from 7.5 down to 5.
I'm not following it because I don't see a 5. I see 7.4.
No, it's not 2.5, it's,
It's, the setback can go to 5 feet via special permit, they're only asking for 7.
7.59.
Is that correct?
Yeah, we're saying,
Except for the shed, which they're asking for
by
5.5.
virtue of being on the way, you can reduce the setback down to 5 feet by special permit. That's the way the language is written. So we're saying, that's what we want to do, is reduce the setback. down
Right,
to
but
5
you're not coming into 5 feet.
No.
Oh, all right, sorry about that.
Except on the
Sorry
shed
about
you
that.
are.
Except on the shed.
Except on the way.
okay, so,
In the audience?
oh, does somebody in the audience want to talk about this? No. Yes.
I'm a friendly
We-
abutter,
So I don't mean to interrupt, but just identify yourself for the tape, and you're on TV.
Al Lucier.
Thank you.
I'm the abutter to the north,
Thank you.
and I object to the statement that the changes decrease the existing northerly intrusions. It may be in linear feet that it does, but that addition on the north west corner is a 2-story addition. That's pretty massive intrusion there. The shed where it is now, along my property line, doesn't bother me at all. I have the shed in the way, I can't see it. So that's not a problem, it can stay right there. I just represented myself. There are 6 homes on this way, and I represent the 5 other people on the way, and we're very concerned with parking. I understand that one slot is required. This is a rental property with 5 bedrooms, pull-out sofas. Because of the rent, 2 or 3 families rent it at the same time. We always have 2 vehicles there, sometimes 3. No one parks on Cartridge Park Road overnight. They have to get off the road. The way can only support 1 vehicle without it being blocked. So we have 2 or 3 vehicles there. I see 2 possible parking locations for 2 slots. If the shed is moved, they could go in there. If the shed was denied, the new shed location was denied the setback, it could be pushed back and 2 slots put in there. That's my neighbors and my major concern.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. I think we'll probably want to, the building's getting bigger, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, additional bedrooms, like,
No.
no.
There are 5 bedrooms in it, that's where our septic is staying, that's all we have.
Okay.
But more volume.
More volume,
Right.
Maybe should be defined as a non-domicile like you did earlier.
It will be ultimately, yes.
Is there someone living in the shed now? I mean, does someone live in that little shed?
It
Is
is
there,
livable.
there's a bedroom in
They
it?
have been in the past.
There's a bed in it?
No, it's filled with trash when they bought it, they cleaned it out. It's a shed, but it's not for storage, really. It's got all sorts of windows in it. But I think your decision to delay pending the HDC is a good one.
All right.
Thank you.
So we've got them, did someone make that motion, actually?
I don't think so.
No. We then gave guidance, because John asked for guidance. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And feel free to come back next month.
So I'll make a motion to continue to October 9th.
Okay. I won't be here. She'll be here at the beginning of the meeting. So Susan will read in, and 2 people, can only 1? Or you can wait till November, because you might not be through the HTC.
Thank you for that.
I feel for you. All right, so the motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Jeffrey seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, I can smell the barn. 5214, Brian Rice, Robert Goldrich, 41 Crooked Lane, for the applicant, the esteemed Ms. Alger.
Yes, Sarah Alger for the applicant. So we were before the board a number of years ago for a request to alter and extend the pre-existing non-conforming structure on this lot, which has significant wetland issues in the back. The existing structure has a section that's about 3 feet off Crooked Lane. At that point, we were proposing an addition. One corner of the addition was shown on the plan as being 15.78 feet off Crooked Lane. You gave us the permit. We recorded it. We pulled a building permit. We built the structure. Mr. Blackwell went out and did a plan. The plan showed a setback of 15.68 feet, which was submitted to the building department as part of a request for a certificate of occupancy. It was rejected. I called Mr. Blackwell and said, what method did you use when you did this plan? He said, well, I just, sent someone out. We did a tape measure. We didn't do anything all that dramatic. I said, well, this 15.68 is a big deal. So please go out and do a precise measurement because I need it to be exact. So he went back out with his laser, I think it was. He redid the measurement, came up with a plan, 15.70 feet off the line. So we're 8/100ths of a foot closer than we were supposed to be, which is 0.96 of an inch, so it's less than an inch.
Probably you're supposed to be at 15.7.
15.78.
I'm disgusted.
I know. I mean, we're horrible, bad people.
Wasn't this one of these,
Don't come back. we
yeah,
said.
that's why you made it so specific, I think.
No, this was not a don't come back.
It wasn't?
This particular
I
one?
remember, I sat on it.
And don't come back.
This was a don't come
It
back.
was like, why go up to the, and,
Because this is the same exact board.
yeah.
We didn't have a don't come back on
Yes.
this.
It's an 8, used to be an 8. That was what was approved.
I know. This doesn't look like an 8 to me.
This was not a don't come back, because we could have asked for relief to go right to 3 feet. So we weren't right at the edge of what we could do.
What do you mean to 3 feet? Why would, oh, because it used to be 3 feet elsewhere, you would never have gotten that.
Well, no, we never would have, but it's not like we went to the, this isn't a case where we went as far as we could go and never went any, and right up to the edge. That isn't this case.
This is just a case of getting something and just, you've made a boo-boo. I have no problem with it.
It's just a
1
question
inch.
of getting something, building it, and, you know.
And it's only the corner, because that's
Yeah,
the nearest
yeah.
point. I would have taken the corner board off.
Exactly.
Had them measure and then, did I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Please expunge
I mean,
that.
I think maybe the wood got swollen, it was humid, I don't know. but-
That's good. That's a good one. That is a really good one, Sarah. It was swollen, it was the middle of August, and it was
Point, I mean,
humid.
that's an inch. I can live with the, it's only at the corner, so
Yeah,
it's
it's
literally
tremendous.
a piece of the building like this. Can you see your way, Karen? I know you're having problems.
I'm just trying to make sure it was a do not come back or not.
All right, that's fair. I think there should be a.
No,
line.
I don't, I mean, I have a pretty good I have no memory of you saying don't come back,
We always
because
say that.
in this particular case, we were so constrained by the wetland issues. You can see the,
And the other setbacks, you made it, or it was only, the building didn't move, it was only this addition.
correct.
Right.
Oh, we definitely said, don't come back.
You know, actually.
No, you did not.
This is another one I drove by, and I really had a strain to see the intrusion.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet you did. You didn't even see the fence at another one. So let's, in the interest of enjoying the sunny day, which Susan is, basking in the sun over there,
Frozen solid.
like a cat. According to, you weren't here when Mr. Reed called us cats. So.
He called you cats, I'm sorry to hear
That
that.
wasn't very nice.
You look like cats. That's calling me a cat. Anyway, do you think we can see our way to this?
Yeah, I'm fine.
It's not a
Michael?
variance, by the
Yes.
way, it's a special permit.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So someone make a motion, and let's get on with it.
I move to grant the relief as requested because it is of a de minimis nature.
Okay. Second? Somebody second that. Jeffrey seconds. Any further discussion? Anybody in the audience? John's just hanging out. Wow. Yeah. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
That's unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Nominate.
John, why are you here?
He's running for
Okay.
chairman.
I didn't know if you wanted to speak to us.
He's running for chairman.
Is he running?
running
He's
for
running
chairman.
for chair.
You wanted to manipulate the vote.
Is this something that Eleanor needs from
No,
Ferry Lane?
this was for one of the proposed.
So I nominate Ed.
Well, wait a minute. I think that to do this procedurally correctly, I'm supposed to, I don't know why. Why do I have to,
That's the procedure.
Where's
What do you
O'Barrett?
have to do?
oh, I guess I have to appoint somebody, chairman pro tem,
What does that mean?
I don't know, for the time, yeah. Sort of like when you jack your building up and it's unattached.
For that one instance that
I'm
it's not
unattached.
grandfathered anymore.
I would just like to go on record in saying, my feelings would not be hurt if anybody wants to take, and so, think about that, Jeffrey.
think we just need like a sugar fund.
Now, Michael isn't here. So anyway,
That's right.
who wants to be chairman pro tem?
I think Susan should be.
Susan, I agree. All right, you're in charge, Susan.
That's the vote, that was it?
Oh, yeah.
We're down in 5 minutes.
You're running the
Oh,
rest
I
of the
guess we
meeting.
have to vote.
Why make Jeff do it?
No, Susan's the best choice, I think. And so the motion's been made to appoint, or I just get to appoint Susan, don't I?
I think so.
Yeah, I'm appointing you chairman pro tem. That's fair.
Jeff, all right, so, does anyone want to appoint chairman?
I nominate Michael O'Mara.
That would be your way.
Where is he?
He's in Florida.
It is really cold. It was cold in the sun.
Well, that's why he didn't show.
I don't know, that's a tough one. I almost want to throw him under the
We
bus.
can nominate somebody else, too. Go on, nominate somebody else.
Well, I'll nominate Ed.
Okay, so we make multiple nominations.
Well, there was no second. Don't you need a second to a nomination?
No, I did.
To
Do
O'Mara?
you need a second to a nomination, or can you just nominate somebody?
You need a second. So I nominated Mr. O'Mara. Is there a second?
Yeah, I seconded it.
You seconded it?
Yeah. All right, so I would like to see the distaff side represented, so I nominate, Lisa.
Wait, no, but I already nominated you.
Nominate you. I'll
No,
second
but you
that.
can nominate multiple people.
I know.
Yeah, but that just
You're nominated
complicates
as
it.
well,
You
you know
and
that.
Michael.
Well, no one seconded me.
I seconded
She
you.
did.
That's too late.
No, no. You are not the chairman right now. She is the chairman pro tem. You need to keep your mouth shut.
So, any other nominations?
Who is our longest standing member other than Michael and myself?
Karen.
Yeah.
No,
Can I make more than one nomination?
can't.
No.
No?
No, you've already made your nomination.
I think I can.
No, you can't.
Did Michael O'Mara phone in any nominations?
I'll nominate Karen.
No.
I'll second that.
I won't be around
No,
as
for
much, so.
chairman.
For chairman.
Okay, you were joking.
No, we've nominated Michael now and Ed and Karen, and so I think we should vote before.
No, nobody seconded that.
Nobody seconded my motion?
I didn't think it was a real
That's a-
motion.
See, nobody thinks I should do it.
I thought you said it kind of, I didn't think it.
No, I wanted to see the fairer side take over.
Oh, is that what you were talking
Oh,
No,
boy.
that would be new and entertaining.
It doesn't matter, so no one's
It's
going to
just a
back me
city
up on
pleasure.
Lisa.
Yeah, no.
For,
I already nominated somebody.
All you
I
have to do is second it.
can't second somebody else, no.
I'll
For-
second
what
it.
is this?
But let's vote.
Oh, my God, we got 4 people
Come
nominated.
on, I want to get back to work.
Yeah,
All
let's
right,
vote.
good enough.
Yeah, we don't need 4 people.
So what?
Is this
so-
a secret ballot?
So how do we vote?
Can we vote multiple times? We have too many nominations.
Oh, that's
I think this is ridiculous. I
This is
already,
ridiculous.
I'm pretty much going to go with the same carbon copy of what we had.
I mean, we need to pick 3 people, right? A chair, a vice chair, and a clerk.
Okay, let's
Let's have a vote.
Ed-
All right, I want to withdraw Mr. O'Mara from consideration. Is the second going to withdraw?
Yeah.
So who would like to see Ed continue his reign as chairman?
Whoa!
And a sugar fund.
Yeah. and we'll bring
Necessary.
some
Eleanor comes
snacks.
with food, she doesn't share it.
No, you need like an IV of
That's
sugar
too
thrown
late,
in
Eleanor.
there.
I've relaxed.
Too late.
Okay, so
All
that's
right,
like.
so that's good. So
you're-
who's vice chairman? Who is it now?
Lisa.
Lisa is now.
Fair enough.
I nominate Lisa.
I nominate a second.
Okay.
All those in
Any other
favor?
nominations?
Chairman, vice chairman, and clerk.
All right, so
Yeah,
let's
so
vote
you have
for
to vote on
Lisa.
vice chairman.
Lisa.
I'm gonna
Lisa.
vote for myself.
Okay.
Ed
And
is
then-
chairman.
I nominate
Vice
Susan.
chairman.
And then
And
next
Susan
vote.
is clerk.
Yes, clerk.
Status quo.
Second.
Let's
I'm
vote.
disgusted.
Are we done?
Were you voting for the clerk?
Yes.
Yeah, we voted.
Great.
Well,
See, that was
congratulations,
easy.
everyone.
Ed, I want to go on the record and say I didn't vote for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
So I'll tell you what happened.
Yeah.
They went in without benefit of right permits, made this into a studio.
Right, 'cause
with a
they're
bathroom
well
and everything
below
like that,
the-
flood zone. So we had to go back in and